Good morning, everybody. Welcome you all for the inaugural session of today's international conference on advances in financial markets and services, organized by Research and Postgraduate Department of Commerce in association with Indo-American Chamber of Commerce. A prayer at the beginning of an important event is our tradition to seek guidance, spirit of joy, desire to excel, and a work from the Almighty. Here, I welcome dearest Elsa Joju, 4th semester BCom Finance for invocation.
ഹൃദയരാഗതന്ത്രിമീട്ടി സ്നേഹഗീതമേകിയും കർമ്മഭൂമി തളിരിടുന്ന വർണ്ണമേകിയും ഞങ്ങൾ പാടുമാത്മരാഗം എന്നും വാഴ്ത്തിടാം. ഞങ്ങൾ പാടുമീ സ്വരങ്ങൾ കീർത്തനങ്ങളാകണി ചൂടുവയ്ക്കുമീ പദങ്ങൾ നൃത്തനൂലമാകണി കുഞ്ഞു വീടിനുൾ തടങ്ങൾ സ്വർഗമാക്കണി അമ്മ നൽകും പോലും അമൃതമാക്കണി പൂർണ്ണനീചരാചരങ്ങൾ ഗുരുവരങ്ങളാക്കണി.
To welcome the gathering, I would like to invite Professor Siju Jacob V, Organizing Secretary, FinCon 2021. Sir, could you please?
Good morning, everybody. Respected Executive Manager, Father Varghese Kuttur, our beloved Principal, Dr. K.L. Joy, distinguished keynote speaker, Dr. K. Ramesha Sir, the Head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. Biju John M., Joint Convener of this international webinar, Professor Rajesh Anthony, professors, research scholars, and students from various universities and colleges, my dear colleagues and students. St. Thomas College Autonomous Thrissur is the oldest Catholic college in Kerala. It was founded as an educational institution in the year 1889 under the auspices of the Archdiocese of Thrissur. The institution was elevated to a second grade college in the year 1990. St. Thomas College became the first grade college during 1925. The UGC granted autonomous status to the college during 2014. In the year 2016, the UGC has given the college with the potential for excellent status. During the same year, the college was re-accredited with A grade by NAC. With regard to Commerce Department, the Commerce Department in St. Thomas College was established in 1957. The postgraduate courses in Commerce Department was started during 1968, and the department has achieved the milestone of research department during 2013. Now the status was given by the University of Calicut. Now, our department is one of the largest departments in Kerala. With regard to the national and international conferences, our department is organizing at least one national or international conference every year. The department has been organizing FinCon from the year 2019 onwards. So this is the third time we are organizing FinCon. This is FinCom 2021. My duty is to welcome the gathering, so I am entering into the same. Reverend Father Varghese Kutur, our executive manager, a man with a smiling face, gives us immense motivation and encouragement in all the academic pursuits. On behalf of the Research Department of Commerce and on my own behalf, I extend him a warm welcome to FinCon 2021. Our keynote speaker, Dr. K. Ramesha, sir was the former professor and dean of National Institute of Bank Management, Pune. He has now taken charge of director of IIBM, Guwahati from 2018. Dr. Ramesha is a seasoned academician with more than 3 decades of experience in teaching, training, research, and consulting activities in the area of banking and finance. He worked as professors in reputed universities and national level apex institutions. And I think he started his career from the Agricultural University, Kerala. He is a recognized PhD supervisor. He has produced several doctorates so far in the area of banking and finance. His areas of interest include macroeconomic environment in India, general banking, MSME development and finance, retail banking, rural and microfinance, cooperative banking, and financial inclusion. He has presented a number of research papers in various national and international conferences in India as well as abroad. And he has published more than 70 research articles in referred professional journals. Sir, we are very much graced to have you as our keynote speaker. On behalf of the Research Department of Commerce and my own behalf, I wholeheartedly welcome you to FinCon 2021. Our principal, Dr. Kyle Joy, who guides us, who advises us, who motivates us in every activity is organized by our department. On behalf of Research Department of Commerce, I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. I also welcome Dr. Biju Jonem, our respected and beloved head of the department, who guided me in organizing the international webinar. Sir, a warm welcome to you. I also welcome Reverend Father Martin Columbarat, Dr. Joby Thomas, Reverend Dr. Alfonso Matthew, our vice principals to FinCon 2021. I also welcome the delegates of ISDC as well as Indo-American Chamber of Commerce to FinCon 2021. I also welcome the professors, research scholars, and students from various colleges, universities to this particular international webinar. I cannot forget the support extended by my colleagues, especially the joint convener, Professor Rajesh Anthony, in this occasion. I extend them a warm welcome to FinCon 2021. This conference will not be a great success without the support of our beloved research scholars and UG and PG students. On behalf of Research Department of Commerce, I also welcome them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With immense pleasure, I request Father Verghese Kutur, Executive Manager, St. Thomas College Autonomous, Thrissur, for benedictory address. Father, could you please?
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. A
Yes.
warm good morning, one of you all. The Research Department of Commerce has been organizing national and international level conferences and seminars over the past few decades. KingCon 2021 is the international webinar organized by the Research Department of Commerce this year. I congratulate the department for taking pain and interest to conduct this international webinar. This
Thank you, Father. Next, to deliver the presidential address, I would like to invite Dr. Biju John M., Head of the Department, Commerce.
Warm good morning to everybody. Uh, the Research Department of Commerce has been organizing international conferences and national webinars and conferences for the past several years. And for the past 3 years, this is the third time we have branded our conferences and webinars in the name of FinCon, which means financial conference. And such a conference is for the third time. And because of this COVID pandemic situation, we have shifted to the webinar mode this year. So for this year, we have the Research Department of Commerce have various resource persons, and we deal with the topics which extend from the college students to the research scholars and teachers. We this time we deal with education, commerce education opportunities abroad, and also the scholarship which are available for various universities and institutes across the world. And also we deal with the topics on research, particularly the research and the session is engaged by Professor Dr. Joni Johnson, the honorary director of the Ken Raj Institute of Central State Financial Relations, and it will be on tomorrow at 10:30. So all are welcome for that academic session. And for today's session, we have one of the most distinguished personalities, Dr. K. Ramesha, who is now Dr. Ramesha is a towering personality in the field of banking and finance in India. He has participated and presented several conferences across the world. Listen, Mr. Ramesha, Dr. Ramesha is now presently the director of the National Institute of Bank Management, a premier banking institute which is situated at Guwahati. So, Dr. Ramesh, we are very much interested in hearing your words of wisdom from you, sir. And for today's session, this inaugural session will be followed by the technical session at 10:30, and later on at there are several paper presentation sessions which are scheduled at 12:45 today. and also the session at 3 p.m. by Miss Teresa Jacobs from London. So we the Research Department of Commerce at St. Thomas College uh, uh, express our sincere gratitude and your contribution and support for joining this seminar and making this seminar a great one. So in this today, I wish all the discussions and deliberations which would follow would enlighten the academics of the participants very much. So once again, let me thank everyone for joining here, particularly our dear Dr. K. Remesha who has joined to deliver the keynote address today. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Remesha, sir. Once again, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Joy KL, Principal, St. Thomas College, Autonomous Thrissur, to deliver the inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
A very warm good morning to all. Respected Executive Manager, Reverend Father Varghese Kuttur, Chief Guest of the Day, Dr. K. Remesha, Director of Indian Institute of Bank Management, Guwahati, Dr. Biju John, the Head of the Department of Commerce, Professor Joe Jacob, Organizing Secretary, Professor Rajesh Anthony, faculty members, distinguished guests from different organizations, research scholars, dear participants and students. With an elated feeling that I take part in this international conference organized by the Research and Postgraduate Department of Commerce in association with Indo-American Chamber of Commerce on advances in financial market and service. As a due result of globalization, the international financial markets and services might have got a great facelift. But presently, the impact of pandemic COVID-19 has held the growth a little backward. Now, the world has begun again to think along widened and strengthened ways to develop comprehensively. Let me congratulate Dr. Biju John, the head of the department, Professor Joe Jacob, organizing secretary, Ajesh Anthony, joint organizing secretary, and all the members of the Department of Commerce who have come forward to organize this international venture. Such attempts offer our students and research fellows to have fresh opening into the wide horizons of knowledge and understanding on international trade and commerce. Thanking everyone and wishing all the best. With your permission, I am glad to inaugurate this international seminar, FinCon 2021. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With immense pleasure, I request Dr. K. Ramesha, Director, Indian Institute of Banking and Finance, for the keynote address. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning to everyone, especially to Reverend Father Varghese Kuttur and very distinguished principal of the St. Thomas College, probably one of the oldest colleges and one of the reputed colleges from the most literate states. I would rather say I was lucky that I could visit this college, I could interact with the faculty when I was there with Kerala Agriculture University. I'm also extremely delighted that this college, St. Thomas College, and the Commerce Department, I must specifically mention Commerce Department, has been quite active in grooming students. I would not take this as a sort of a big international conference, but it is biggest from the point of view of researchers and students. Every college, in my opinion, must make these sort of attempts to groom, to expose the PG students and also researchers to internationally reputed academicians. I'm very glad that, as Biju highlighted just now, there are academicians from US, academicians from UK, and I'm sitting almost 2,000 kilometers away from Thrissur, and I'm given an opportunity. Although I'm not going to deliver a big keynote address, I was so happy and delighted that this college has been continuously making efforts to make this college relevant to the present day situations. And they have not stopped conducting international conference. They have used the pandemic as an opportunity to make best use of the technology. And I'm very glad that there are paper presenters, there are people who are listening to us, taking advantage of whatever little we know, thanks to the technology. Pandemic, yes, it has got both plus and minus side, but for St. Thomas College, it is only plus side, positive side. I must congratulate Biju and his team, including Sejo. Sejo, I don't want to see your name as Professor Sejo. Next time it should be Dr. Sejo. I hope you will take my advice very seriously and will complete your doctorate. Now, I thank the college and respected Father Varghese Couture and other respected, dignitaries who are connected to this webinar. Let me make a very quick presentation. I'm aware, as Biju rightly told, that we have about 15-20 minutes. And within 20 minutes, I'll complete my presentation. I'm reasonably good and confident, also to some extent competent to talk on banking. Therefore, I will focus my discussion on banking. I will now share 3 slides. Can all of you see the slide? Biju?
Sir,
Is it visible now?
No, sir,
Now?
it is not visible.
It's not visible.
No, not yet, not yet.
Yes,
Yes, it is coming, sir. Wait, it is coming. It is coming, yes. It is coming.
Now it is coming.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Shall
sir.
I start?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Well, friends, this is a very small PPT on banking and financial ecosystem. And I thought I should show you this statement from the governor when the Monetary Policy Committee met during the peak, pandemic in our country and announced the monetary policy. I just read out when the horizon is the darkest and the human reason is beaten down to the ground, that faith shines brightest and it will come to our rescue. What it essentially means is the horizon is the darkest. We don't know from where COVID-19 came, where it is going, whether it is going out, whether it is leaving, whether it's going to stay with us, whether vaccine is going to help us. We don't know, frankly. Human reasoning is beaten down to the ground. We have not been able to reason out, but we have changed our lifestyles. We have, in a way, trying our best to get conditioned to the pandemic environment. And at this point in time, we have to have faith. In whom? Ultimately, when the direction is not there, when the darkness is engulfed everywhere, when our own reasoning is beaten down, then we look up for the rescue from somebody, Messiah. And that is the sum and substance of this quotation. I think I have conveyed the impact of pandemic on us. It has impacted the economy. It has impacted the financial sector, including financial market. It has certainly impacted the banking sector, which I'm very confident about. It has even impacted our lifestyles, the way we discharged our professions, the way students studied, the way children learned. Everything has been impacted. So let us not discuss too much. Anyway, we will have faith and we will move forward. Now, the first point that I'm going to show in this slide talks of the relationship between economy and the banking sector. We are all aware, lots of research papers and lots of textbooks and plenty of PhD theses, which have gone into the details, and it has been, in a way, very effectively, convincingly conveyed to all of us, the common students, that the banking sector cannot shine when the economy is not shining. Put it differently, when the banking sector is in bad shape, economy will also be in bad shape. And the COVID has impacted economy. We are going to have negative growth rate, and therefore the banking sector is also going to be affected very severely in terms of profitability indicators, in terms of soundness indicators, and also in terms of efficiency indicators. But the point is, past is past. It is not that we made this pandemic. It has come to us. The question is, how do we reposition ourselves? How do we ensure that the economy picks up at the earliest? How do we ensure that the banking sector comes back to the normalcy? And that's the challenge that we all, I think, have before us now. Now, the second point that I would like to convey to you is banking sector is a very important sector in the financial sector. Whether it is India or somewhere else, but at least in Indian context, I can very convincingly make a point that banking sector is there everywhere, in every segment of the financial sector, be it commodity market or forex market or stock market or bonds market or any market which deals with financial instruments like money market, for example. So therefore, the banking sector's presence is felt all through in every subsegment of the financial sector. Now, before pandemic and after pandemic, the banking sector had a bigger challenge. And even now, the challenge is going to be biggest. That challenge, all of you are aware, is nothing but NPA. Now, as all of you are aware, when the banking sector is saddled with high level of NPAs, that banking sector may not be able to support the economy. And therefore, the GDP growth rate may not go up as expected because the support from the banking sector would be minimum, because banking sector itself is saddled with high level of NPAs. As commerce students, you must be aware that when the banking sector is saddled with or burdened with high level of NPAs, then banking sector's capital adequacy will be a challenge. Banks will not have capital to convert liabilities into assets. The banking sector's interest income, operating profit, everything will be low because NPAs are not generating the interest income. Then banking sector will have to make provisioning. For every bad loan, there needs to be a certain amount as per the regulatory prescription to be kept away, kept aside. So therefore, when the stress is there in the banking sector, the banking sector's presence in the entire financial sector will be affected. And the financial sector's performance will also be affected, impacted, and will not be good when the banking sector itself is not good. The first point probably the researchers and commerce students must understand is that we have so much research papers that when the banking sector is not good, be it on account of low credit growth or because of NPAs or because of losses, whatever be the reason, when the banking sector is not good, economy suffers. Fine. When the banking sector is not good, the entire financial system suffers, and the financial system's support to the economy will also be a question mark. A very simple example is when the banking sector is not good, who will finance corporates? When the banking sector is not good, who will finance NBFCs? As simple as this, banking sector may be quite active in giving you housing loans, but that's not what the banking sector is expected to do to push the economy towards higher growth trajectory. Banking sector must take care of all the productive segments of the economy. So therefore, my second point is, today we have a challenge that is stress in the banking sector. And as all of you are aware, in the fifth point, I have mentioned a term, regulatory forbearance. Regulatory forbearance means the concessions given by Reserve Bank of India. RBI, because of pandemic, simply told banks that you don't have to classify a loan account as NPA because of this pandemic up to August 31st. Then some people went to Supreme Court and all. That's a different story altogether. But the point that we should remember is that the stress in the banking sector is going to get accentuated on account of this pandemic. Earlier also it was there, NPA problem. Now the problem becomes more rather, aggressive, more intense on account of pandemic. And once the Reserve Bank of India gradually withdraws all these concessions given to banking sector, the banking sector's NPA level, according to Financial Stability Report, would be reaching about 12.5 to 13%, which is by any measure is a very high NPA level. Now, the third thing is banking sector must take care of the economy. Just because it is not good, it cannot keep quiet. Banking sector cannot say, I have NPAs and I will not take care of some sectors. Now the government and the Reserve Bank of India both have been nudging the banking system to take care of the requirements of MSMEs, agriculture and retail. Now you are all aware, the Government of India had announced series of programs to support MSMEs, including emergency credit line without collateral. Banking system was expected to lend 3 lakh crores. Agriculture has been reasonably good, not affected by pandemic, and banks have been happily lending. Retail is reasonably good, but when the GDP fails to grow at a higher rate, then the demand for retail loans will be somewhat, I would say, subdued. When the GDP grows at a higher rate, pushed by the services sector growth, then everybody would be demanding housing loan, car loan, personal loan, maybe, a loan to go out on a trip, all those things. So these are some of the issues that as commerce students, we must remember. And there is also scope for doing some amount of research. The push of the Government of India, especially on public sector banks, to lend money to MSMEs. What would happen 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line in terms of probability of default? Probably, those aspects can be examined by researchers at a later date. Now, we have achieved, I mean, on to this fourth point, we have achieved substantial progress with respect to financial inclusion. We are all aware what is financial inclusion, why financial inclusion, and so on and so forth. But what we have to achieve in the years to come to ensure that the economy grows at a higher rate and the banking sector also grows in tandem with the growth in the economy is to see that the financial inclusion really results in more credit dispensation and distribution of insurance products. My simple submission to all of you is financial inclusion is not just opening Jandan accounts. Financial inclusion is ensuring credit where it is needed and also taking care of some of the other products and services like insurance. I mean, this aspect has to be taken forward by the banking system to help the economy and also to help the banks themselves. Now, this is the time that the banks reposition themselves. Now, banks have been hit fine, and the RBI gave a lot of concessions, including infusion of liquidity and other regulatory concessions. Fine. These things cannot be long lasting. Once the concession is given, fine. It is only for a specific time period. These forbearances will have to be withdrawn. And when the regulatory concessions are withdrawn, probably banks will have to pull up their stocks and probably they have to reposition themselves in order to survive in the competitive environment. Now, digital banking is picking up thanks to pandemic and also thanks to Government of India. Now, digital banking has got a risk dimension also. The customer complaints, if you examine, are mostly on account of either internet banking or something happening at the ATM or something, somebody stealing the password. So digital banking is very important. It helps the bank, it helps the customer. But what we cannot forget is digital banking has a risk dimension also, especially cyber risk. In the years to come, a bank which is good in managing the risk in digital banking is going to be the winner. Even the best private sector bank in our country was taken to task by the Reserve Bank of India for some of the glitches in the digital banking. I don't want to name the bank, but then you must have read in the paper. Now, my last point is a banking sector can contribute to economy and also grow on a sustained basis when the performance indicators are good and that too over a period of time. Efficiency wise or efficiency indicators and profitability. After all, banks are commercial banks. Banks must make profit, and profit is possible when the banks attain minimum level of efficiency. And bank also should be sound in terms of be it capital adequacy, in terms of governance, or it may be in terms of low level of net NPS. So these three efficiency or performance parameters must be of paramount importance in the years to come so that the banking sector would progress forward and also will grow in tandem with the growth that is likely to happen in the economy from financial year 2022-23. Now, this is a very simple slide. Commerce students must focus on NBFCs. There's no point only talking about banking because NBFCs are more or less doing banking only without banking license. NBFCs are also regulated by Reserve Bank of India. Earlier, housing finance companies were regulated by National Housing Bank. Now, RBI has taken over that regulatory function from National Housing Bank. What I would like to convey to the MCOM students and the researchers is that this is an area which has not been explored by students and researchers. NBFCs are as important as banks. Very simple statement, but very important statement. There are failures in NBFC, whether it is, I don't want to name, but then there are 2-3 important failures that prompted the Reserve Bank of India to come out with a revised regulatory framework. And NBFCs, which are very big, called as systemically important, are being regulated by Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India is also very seriously thinking of granting licenses to big NBFCs. And license essentially means banking license. Is that going to be a solution? I don't know at this point in time. Probably this conference, your professors, your researchers must look into these things. But my simple submission to all of you is that non-banking financial intermediaries, which were maybe 15 years back, 10 years back, not as important as today, they control a substantial proportion of the financial assets of our country. They are present in every segment of the financial sector. They are into infrastructure finance, they are into providing venture capital, they are into providing housing loans, they are providing MSME loans, they are providing retail loans, whatnot. And therefore, probably students may show some interest and study this NBFC segment. Now, one thing before I conclude, would like to bring to the notice of the scholars here is that of late we have somehow developed an aversion towards corporates, because every now and then you read in newspapers that big companies are the companies which have failed to repay the bank loan. In other words, NPAs are there in big loans, not in small loans. Fine, agreed. But then the issue is, in a developing country like ours, somebody has to finance big companies. Big companies have certain advantages. You, as students of economics, you may call it a scale advantage or scale economies. I would call that corporates are there in all sectors, including infrastructure, and corporates must function efficiently so that at least, tier 1 suppliers, the MSMEs will survive. Without corporates, MSMEs, tier 1 suppliers cannot survive. Corporates are very important from the economy point of view. Now, if I share with you, the banking sector is not very much interested in financing corporates because they have burned their fingers in the past. And therefore, the government of India has very recently, 2-3 days back, has once again revisited the development financial institution concept, and I think formally a development financial institution has been already established. When I say development financial institution, something like old IDBI, not IDBI Bank, ICICI, not ICICI Bank. These agencies were lending, money to big companies, especially infrastructure in the form of project finance. My, submission to the research scholars and other academicians in this conference is probably establishing 1 or 2 development financial institution is not going to take care of the huge demand for finance to support our infrastructure growth. Banks will have to improve risk management capabilities and continue to lend money to corporates and infrastructure. Just because few corporates have failed and a few NPAs, big NPAs have been referred to NCLT, it does not mean that the banks can simply say we will not lend money to corporates, we will lend money only to retail sector. No, that banking system will not be supporting the economy. And in our country, there is an issue with the bonds market. Everyone agrees that in the long run, corporates will be able to tap cheap resources from the bonds market. But unfortunately, despite best efforts by Reserve Bank of India, the bonds market has not developed. Probably a researcher can look into and why it has not developed despite the efforts of Reserve Bank of India. With these words, I extend my best wishes to everyone assembled here, everyone who is connected to this webinar conference, and also my appreciation to Biju and his dedicated team, and thanks to the management of St. Thomas College for giving me this 15-20 minutes to share my perspectives on the banking sector in the context of the larger canvas of financial and economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for valuable words. May I now request Professor Ajay Shanti, Joint Convener, FinCon 2021, to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, just now. Good morning to one and all. I deem it as a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks of this session. Let me first of all start by giving glory to the Almighty God for making this session a resounding success. First and foremost, I thank our special guest, Dr. K. Ramesha, Director, Indian Institute of Bank Management, who, despite his busy schedule, has found time to grace this session. He makes us much aware about numerous advancements and has, as he mentioned, that how to examine the forces that disrupt the role of NBFCs, structure and competitive environment of financial institutions, and the market and zone. The post-crisis regularity framework has been gradually setting into place, and how NBFC financial institutions have been adjusting their business models. So once again, thank you, sir, for your fruitful session.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are grateful to our executive manager, Father Varghese Kutur. I believe that he was having some sort of problem in network. That is why he couldn't complete the session. In spite of that, I wholeheartedly thank Father Varghese Kutur for his encouragements and his able guidance. I thank our powerhouse, Dr. Joy Kale, Principal, St. Thomas College, Thrissur, for his stewardship, support, vision, and commitment. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. Biju Jonem, Head of the Department of Commerce, for your valuable contribution, guidance, and encouragement for all our efforts. Next, I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Sijo Jacob, Organizing Secretary, to his support and guidance. I thank all the distinguished invitees present here who have accepted our invitation. Last but not least, special gratitude to all my colleagues, non-teaching staff, and students who have worked hard to ensure the success of this session. Once again, I thank you all for your valuable time. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Of our inaugural session. Moving on to the technical session. I cordially invite Professor Divya George, Assistant Professor, Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce, to welcome the guests
and to moderate the
the
session.
session.
Madam,
Madam,
would you please?
Thank you. Respected Principal Dr. Joy KL, eminent resource persons of the day Dr. Hafsa Ahmad, Ms. Annie Ghosh, and Mr. Sony Varghese, Vice Principals Reverend Dr. Martin Columbrath, Dr. Joby Thomas K., and Reverend Sister Alfonsa Matthew, Head of the Department Dr. Biju John M., dear Professors of Research Department of Commerce, my dear colleagues, students, eminent delegates from various educational institutions and industries, a very warm good morning to one and all present here. As the moderator of this session, it's my pleasure to welcome you all today to the third International Conference on Advances in Financial Markets and Services, FinCon 2021, organized by the Research Department of Commerce of St. Thomas College, Autonomous Thrissur. Research Department of Commerce was established in the year 1957. The department was always in the forefront of St. Thomas College, with variety of innovative, meritorious, and academic events. Even though we are going through a crisis situation because of COVID-19, there is no decline in the academic performance of our department. That gave the department the strength to organize this third international conference in an online platform. As all of us may have heard several apprehensions regarding the performance of an educational institution during this pandemic, now we are realizing that we are regaining back to our track, slowly but steadily. We, the teachers and students, never felt this situation as a hurdle which could stop us from our heights. So I take this opportunity to thank Almighty for giving us this chance to organize our third international conference. The crux of this international conference on advances in financial markets and services is an idea to create an awareness among the stakeholders of the department regarding the innovations and trends in financial markets and services. So in this context, I can assure you that we are blessed with very eminent resource person for this occasion. I am happy to introduce and welcome our resource person who is going to deliver the first technical session of our international conference, Mr. Sony Varghese. He is a postgraduate in business management with 25 years of experience in senior management positions with organizations like Hindustan Unilever, Reliance Communications, and MTS. He is also an effective communicator with a passion and professional experience in motivating and guiding the students to choose their right career path for a lifetime success. He has got 11 years of experience in Hindustan Unilever Limited, heading sales and operations for Tamil Nadu. He headed sales and operations for Kerala and Tamil Nadu in Reliance Communications also, and has got 6 years of experience in the senior management level as deputy director in MTS, a Russian-based telecom company. He also acted as the management consultant for a few national operating companies like Datri, Tiara Foods, etc. And also acted as the academic consulting and administration servant for many prestigious institutions across South India. And he has headed several career consulting and guidance for international and domestic educational programs, and conducted various teacher training programs for various colleges and schools, and conducted various orientation programs for parents and corporate training across South India. Currently, he is working as an executive director for EasyLink Academy, a global education group based at Kerala. Today, Mr. Sony Varghese is going to inspire our students with a session on international career opportunities for commerce students. On behalf of Research Department of Commerce and St. Thomas College Autonomous Thrissur, I extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Sony Varghese. I'm sure the beneficiaries of this day could grab plenty of opportunity. The main outcome of this event is to come up with a motivated mind, clear vision to explore your future, which is not something that we can buy. However, it can be an extremely valuable savings account. Once again, welcome you all. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Sony Varghese to deal with the first session on international career opportunities for commerce students. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much. I hope the PPT is shared. Is it visible? Yeah.
Yes, it's visible, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, respected senior
Sir,
management team of
can you go for
yeah,
the enlarged version slideshow?
yeah. But then I think there is a. Let me see.
Then okay, sir, continue. Please continue, sir.
Yeah, yeah. This is in the enlarged version my laptop. Let's see if technically we can catch up. Yeah.
Okay, sir, continue, sir.
Thank you so much. So, respected senior management team of St. Thomas College, where I studied for 5 years. I have a lot of pleasure to come back to interact with students of St. Thomas. I have done my uh, pre-degree and BSc mathematics in St. Thomas College. Then went for my while doing my MSc, I went for my MBA and then got into management. Yeah, so that's my special pleasure when I come back to St. Thomas. And special thanks to Commerce Department, Biju sir and team for giving us such a great opportunity to interact with scholars and students. Yeah, and finally, my team from Isling Academy, the faculties from New Zealand who are about to join in some time, and my dear students. Let me begin saying, when I worked 22 years in the industry, yeah, we have been to different campuses to take students to the multinationals like Unilever and Reliance, etc., etc. And for the last 4 years, exclusively doing work with institutions like St. Thomas, Christ, St. Aloysius, Rajagiri, and a few in Tamil Nadu, etc. I hear a few new words which was not familiar to us in the past. Some people say unemployment. A lot of students say depression, demotivated. I'm not seeing any light in the end of the tunnel, etc., etc. So in every interaction, I used to tell them a few tips, and I used to take them through a few techniques to update themselves to the industry, basically bridging the gap between the institution to the industry. I remember last year we were doing a placement. I was academic administrator for St. Aloysius for some time and have worked with Christ and St. Thomas also. So there was an interview going on, and a multinational company's HR manager is on the other side. Me and vice principal is in the board. The student is a rank holder of the college, and the self-introduction was extraordinary. He said everything in English. Then he spoke about his CGPA score. When it went on and on for 7 minutes, the HR manager of this multinational company, he asked, "Why should I take you?" Let me tell you, in spite of all the academic score, in spite of all the self-introduction and the energy levels, with such a small question, this candidate got struck for some time. Then I translated the question to him in his language. But once again, he said, "What do you mean?" So I once again told him, he's asking very politely, if you get a chance, what will you contribute for this company? Given a chance, what can you give us? At that time, maybe I understand balance sheet, or I know the basic formula between gross profit and net profit may not work. We must have the ability to convert all these concepts into practical applications. So whenever students tell me about unemployment and depression, I'm not saying about all students. There are a lot of students who have made it also from the campus, and I appreciate them. But many of them say, yeah, I got a job, but then this is not what I was looking for. Look at Federal Bank. They are taking engineers. For the last 2 years, they are taking engineers, not from Commerce Department. What is going on? And I get a job in the reception. So to the core category or to the diversified category, according to the critical skill shortage of the location, I'm getting confused. Okay, so this is the background of my discussion for next 45 minutes. Let me speak in your language. We are together going to invest 45 minutes. When we invest, we get returns. I don't think any of the participants will spend their time here. Let us invest some time, and I'm sure you will get some returns, and especially from the industry. Yeah. So if you ask me, what are you going to tell us? The key areas that we are planning to cover in the next 45 minutes will be the global opportunities, we can cover India and abroad, career opportunities, yeah, life planning, to be very frank. Then the core options for commerce students, finance students, and the diversified options. Yeah, there is no rule that I need to be in the core. I can always go for management, nothing wrong. Yeah. Then 1-year master programs, which you are not heard much about, 1-year master programs with 100% placement assistance. Yeah. Then a few countries giving you free educations and big scholarships. Yeah, scholarships to the tune of 30-40% by Australia. Germany is giving you complete free education, etc., etc. Then critical skill shortages of different countries. Yeah, every category may not have job opportunities in every geographies. I'll repeat, every category, for example, IT, civil, mechanical, commerce, banking, accounting, etc. Each category may not have equal job opportunities across the geography cuts. Common sense, but we generally get frustrated and say unemployment. And finally, some of the sample programs which will be useful to you just to get a feel of what kind of programs we are looking for in case of further education. Yeah. So if you ask me what you should expect from next 45 minutes, this is the kind of agenda I have in my mind. Let me get into my topic. Point number one, I told you about the interview happened a few months back, and this happens very often. I did my mathematics. I told you while doing MSc, I got admissions for MBA. My favorite is integration and differentiation. I understand sine theta and cos theta better than each one of you. I worked 22 years between largest multinational companies. You hope you will know what is Unilever. You'll be using our products like Lifebuoy, Lex, Hamam, Pierce, Fair and Lovely, Brew Coffee, etc., etc. World's largest FMCG company. And I was there for 11 years heading Tamil Nadu for their sales and operations. Now, then came to Reliance Communications for one of their divisions heading Tamil Nadu and Kerala, then MTS, which is a Russian company. So 25 years gone, no one asked me so far, what is d by dx of sine theta? No one asked me so far, what is a square minus b square? But everyone said, Sony is very good in analytical skills. Sony is very good in computing. When we go for some purchase negotiations, when we make up some sales schemes and incentives, when we do some anything into analytical side, let Sony be in the team because he's fast in computing. He don't use Excel and calculators. He got a speed. Look at where the mathematics is getting used in combination with the management. Look at the combination. Everyone laughed at me because I was the only one without a commerce background in my class. And people said, do you understand debit and credit and balance sheet? I said, no, I am coming with a background of sine theta and cos theta. But yes, I took 1 month tuition to understand all this. But my reply to the campus was by taking second rank in the campus and getting placed to Unilever. Yeah, so look at the combinations between science and management, between commerce and management, etc., etc. I'm only saying we may not get a chance to use the raw informations, the knowledge that we are gaining. We may not get a chance to use it in the raw format. We may have to get into the application side. This is a study done by Times of India, and they are saying, if at all, there are 3 reasons. Number one, and especially from students of South India, the number one will be our inability to convert concepts into practical applications. Underline this point. If you know, with your background of commerce, if you know how to convert all this into the company's requirements, then you are there. They will definitely ask you a question, why should I take you? And we must have an answer to it. Let me tell an example from your syllabus. You all could have gone through something called product lifecycle management. I also did it in my management program. This is one of my favorite topics, product lifecycle management. Since it's not a live session, I don't want to ask questions. There are 4 stages to it. Everyone will answer it. Introduction, growth, saturation, and diversification. If you write this answer for a question of product lifecycle management, you get 10 out of 10 in Calicut University, MG University, or wherever you write your exams. You got it. Now, you come with me to the industry. Let's say we together going to Unilever, and we are selling our favorite brand called Lifebuoy. Introduction happened before I joined. It was a heat brand, red color. If you remember the old Lifebuoy, red in color, rectangle in shape, 120 grams, big one. And there's a song in Malayalam, Tamil, Lifebuoy Evidayo Avadayana Arogyam. People liked it, and it was moving big time. So introduction gone, growth. Sometimes in introduction, we do a lot of experiments. For example, while launching Norsups, the Norsups that you are enjoying today, I was in the team, was failed 13 times because it is very difficult to make something called national taste. When Tamilians liked it, Kerala said no. When Delhi people liked it, Mumbai said no. Like Maggie, to get a national and global taste, it's not very easy. So during introduction, we do all the mechanism to get it right. Once it is fixed, once the pilot launch is done, then we go for growth, growing. Growing is a good time to enjoy life. Later on, we come to the third stage is called maturity or saturation. So all the commerce students who have done this concept will now wait for the last step, which is decline. Now, assume that we together joined Unilever and telling the head of department of Lifebuoy, the brand manager of Lifebuoy, saying, sir, introduction was good, growing was excellent, we became the biggest brand in the world. And now that we have come to a level called saturation, sir, just wait, next 2 years we are going to decline. Let me tell you very honestly, you'll be sacked out of the company, you'll be pushed out of the company. They will clearly tell you on your face that we are paying you not to decline a branch. So what happened to my concept? What happened to my syllabus? What happened to my university? Here is the point I'm saying. We should know how to convert the concepts into practical applications. So some people will say, decline is not the only option. Maybe we can make a few changes and diversify also.
Excuse me,
Look at
sir.
this. Yeah.
Sir, are you moving the slides?
Yes, I am
Are you-
moving, but then but then something
It
wrong.
is not visible. It was.
One
We are
second.
still stuck in the first slide.
1 second. I'll ask my technical team to work on this.
Okay.
Okay. Meanwhile, I'm continuing. I am just
Yes, sir.
yeah. Thanks for the information. Got it. Thank you. Yeah. Someone is working on it. So let me continue saying there is something called decline, but those who understand the practical applications will say decline is not the only option. There is an option called diversifications. Maybe I can make a few changes and diversify and move further. The moment we say this, then the company will say, wonderful, this is what I want from you, and please continue doing it. Make some modifications, diversify. I just gave the easiest example for all of you to understand. There could be big examples, but our own inability or our own ability to convert concepts into practical applications will get us a job. And here is the chance, and here is an opportunity with the global education where 80% of our education will happen through practical applications. I hope you got it. Yeah. I hope the slide is also visible now. Thanks to the technical team. Yeah. So this is a point we are discussing about. A study done by Times of India, 3 major reasons for low employability, or 3 tips to improve the employability. And point number 1 should be our ability to convert concepts into practical applications. Point number 2, I don't want to spend much time on power of communication, not very relevant for today, but then keep in mind. Look at the third point once again. This is your language. State of economy, demand versus supply. I hope everyone will understand this very fast. Demand versus supply. Assume there are 10,000 commerce professionals passed out from the campus looking for a job. And imagine there are 1,000 vacancies in South India or in Kerala, for example. 10,000 professionals waiting and 1,000 vacancies. What will happen? 1,000 will get the chance, 9,000 may have to wait. This is not unemployment, for information. Please use common sense. This is not unemployment. This is just demand versus supply. And hence we are saying there is something called critical skill shortage for every geography. There is something called critical skill shortage for every country. If you don't understand this mechanism, then we will get depressed generally, and then we'll say unemployment. And we'll also get some 30 lakhs and 40 lakhs employees from outside the state and give them job also. And once again, we'll say unemployment. Out of 3 crore, we have got 30 lakhs employees working, top line, bottom line, whatever, in the small state of Kerala, and we still say unemployment. It is not unemployment. It is just demand versus supply. We are 10,000 and the number of vacancies are only 1,000. So 9,000 may have to wait or may have to move to a geography where there are huge opportunities. I'll repeat, the balance 9,000 can wait and wait or can move to the geographies where people are waiting for youngsters saying, we want commerce students, we want management trainees from India because India's average age is 27. And the average age of Europe in most of the countries is in 47 and 48. They don't have youngsters. And for some countries like UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, they're saying we have an acute shortage for people on finance, investment banking, supply chain logistics, etc., etc. Look at this. And some of the countries are saying, since the shortage is so high, we will give you free education. So some of them are saying, since the shortage is very high, we will give you 30-40% of scholarships. We will give you masters in 1 year time. We ensure you 100% placements. So if you are thinking globally, go further or can wait for the balance 9,000 is waiting. You can be in the queue and wait for a few more years. I hope this slide concludes 2 big points: our own ability to convert concepts into practical applications, and thereby, if at all, someone choosing a post-graduation. Okay, look at an institution in India, and I appreciate St. Thomas and Christ and kind of Rajgiri kind of colleges in Kerala, a lot of big institutions in Tamil Nadu, in Bangalore. They have a lot of practical applications. They have a lot of industry connects, and they are able to give placements. Choose that kind of education institutions within India, or if it is outside India, you have got 80% weightage given to practicals, and placements are 100%. Have you heard about 100% placements? I mean it. Go to the site of some of the colleges who are 50 years, who are 100 years plus. I normally ask students while chatting. I'm into the international education segment, so I get a chance to, very often I get a chance to interact with students and ask them, how many students in your class? And they say, sir, 40. And how many of you, they're alumni, they came out of the campus. How many of you are still in your WhatsApp group? They said 38. 38, we all still working here. What about the balance 2? No, sir, one girl from Russia, she went back, she belongs to a business family, she don't want to work. Okay. Another guy, he got an arrear, maybe in 6 months time he come out, or he went to Mexico back and he don't want to work. So 98 and 99% of placements I've seen for the last 5 years, and this gives us a lot of pleasure saying, okay, this is the meaning of demand versus supply, because in some countries, finance, commerce, management is a critical skill shortage. Germany is saying mechanical IT and finance is my shortage. New Zealand is saying civil engineering and supply chain and finance is my shortage. UK is saying investment banking, finance, ACCA kind of programs, qualified students are in my shortage list. Ireland is saying so and so. Australia is saying so and so. So the moment we think globally, then you see 2 options. If I am ready to go for an interview, to answer the question, when they ask, why should I take you? I have an answer. I am a professional. Apply for a job, and we kind of, EasyLink kind of academies are always there to help you, to connect you to the industries. Yeah. Last year, I still remember from my college, I don't want to name the college here. I personally have taken interest and placed 13 students within Kerala in banking. I still remember their comments while sitting in the interview. Some of them said, in the 8th standard, I have decided to join HDFC. In the 9th standard, I have decided to join Axis Bank. At that time, whether Axis was there or not is a different question. But then they are very powerful in communicating. But unfortunately, out of 13, only 5 are working. 1 year down, only 5 are working. 8 out of 13 quit and looking for different jobs. In other words, industry attrition, people churn is the tune of 35 to 40% in India. So what do we mean by education? In spite of spending 15 to 20 years in the campus, you mean to say I still do not know the job profile of a banker? Or after getting a job in 2 months' time, when they asked about sales and cross-sellings and meeting customers, I got depressed? Or later on, I realized that this is not my cup of tea, and now I'm looking for a serious job. Okay, so keep this in mind. My own interest levels, my own ability to convert my concepts to practicals, and demand versus supply. Yeah, these three will give you a clear background about how to go forward on this kind of occasions. Yeah, moving further, people ask me benefits of international education. That's our core topic. Why international education? There are 5 points. Will give you a clear-cut idea why international education. Point number 1, you get wide range of programs. When I say wide range of programs, after BCom, after MCom, when I come out, I have 2-3 options in India or 4-5 options in India. But the moment you change it into global, then you get 30-35 options. They will tell you, if you are so keen to your core, then go for MS Finance, MS Accounting, Finance and Technology, e-commerce, etc., etc., etc. Then they ask you, you want to diversify, come for management programs like business analytics, commerce with computer application, business analytics, commerce with IT, or come to supply chain logistics, come to operations management, come to brand management, come to finance MBA. When you get into a supermarket with 30-35 options, then you understand the power of global education. Okay, now let me consider my academics. Let me consider my interest. Underline the word interest. I told you the job attrition is 40% because you are getting into an area which is not in your interest levels. There is no rule that a commerce student should do only balance sheet. No one said this. You can always give 50% weightage to your interests. And only in a supermarket you get these kind of options. So think globally. So you get 30-35 options and choose according to 2 things. 1, your interest and skill. Point number 2, critical skill shortage of a country. These kind of finance programs are available even in Italy, even in Latvia, even in a lot of countries. But will my program get into their critical skill shortage list? If not, I'll study MS there, but I'll be doing a different job. Then once again, I say I'm not motivated, I'm not interested. Okay, so don't get into the trouble. 1 is your interest levels. Second one, the critical skill shortage of that country. The place where I'm going, is there any shortage to this particular profile in that country? Okay, so wide range of programs is the first one. Second one, I already touched upon now, critical skill shortage of a country. I told you, finance people are weighted in places like UK, Ireland. Investment banking, management, finance are weighted in New Zealand, Australia kind of places. Yeah, pure finance is in huge demand in Central Europe, where you get a free education. A lot of people think global education is not for me because of 2 reasons. 1, I don't have finance in lakhs, but I'm saying it is free. Even in Kerala, when you study, you have to pay something. It is not free. But here I'm saying absolutely free. You don't pay anything for 2 years. And you know the rank of the institution? 100 or 150 in the world. For those who don't understand world ranking, AIMS, All India Medical Science, which is the best in our country, world ranked as 1236. And I'm talking about a world rank of 100 to 150. And I'm saying, please don't pay the fee. So you will say, sir, what about my stay, food, accommodation, etc.? You can work 80 hours, you can work every month. And you earn around 75K a month. Even a +2 student who has gone from Sacred School last month they have moved to Ireland and a few to UK. In the month 1, they have earned 75, 76K, and their living cost is only 40K. They can save and send 30K to their home while studying. And the third one, sir, will I get a job? 2 things. For the last 100 years or last 50 years, this institution has proved 100% replacements. Always look at the past history, not the dialogues. Point number 2, they give you a stay back of 2 or 3 years, which means post-study, even if I'm working for a contract also, I can be there in the country for 2 or 3 or 4 years more. I'm going for a 1-year education, but my visa is for 3 or 4 years. Look at this. So maybe 2 months I'm working on a contract, then only I made my work permit. No problem. You can be there for even 2 or 3 years. So it's safe. That's why you don't see anyone coming back from Europe saying, I did not get a job. It happened in the past with the UK because there was no stay back. But now they also have announced their stay back. So 1-year masters with 2 years of stay back. New Zealand, 1-year masters with 3 years of stay back. Look at this. So please use this kind of opportunities. I we discussed about range of programs, critical skill shortage of a country, and the placement levels. Let me tell you an example. There are some universities like Coventry, for example, in UK. I have sent a few students, commerce students, and I told them, take a one-year master program, which is valid. Even without MPhil, you can go for PhD with that. It's a valid program. It's a high-ranked program, one-year masters. If you want to know the power of the program, with this one-year masters, MS, financial accounting, you get 9 papers exempted from your ACCA. 9 papers exempted from your ACCA. One-year masters. You can go for PhD directly in the same university. If you want to come back to India, then discuss with us one-to-one, because we need to check the university types. Even sometimes Bangalore Autonomous University also is not appreciated in Calicut University for their PhD. So that is a different one. But then in UK or in Ireland, if you do one-year masters, you can straight away in that country go for your PhD also. And while doing PhD, it's around 2 lakhs plus that you earn a month, stipends. So I'm coming back to this Coventry story. The students told me, sir, I know I get a placement, but there is an option. Can I change my program to 2-year program? Placement year. I said, it's a wonderful option. You can. And you know how it works? In semester 1, you see your seniors are getting placed. In case if you are not very confident about the placements, to the core category, you will get a job. But to the core category, you can make this program to 2-year program, where year 2, you'll be placed to the companies from the campus by the college. They conduct some 13-14 interviews for you. And they charge you some 2,000 pounds, which is negligible, which means you don't have to pay the tuition fees again for year 2. And you work for an organization for the whole year. And it is called placement year from the campus. So your 1-year program becomes 2-year program, 1 year of education, and second year complete placement with a salary, And then you come out of the campus, then you have 2 more years of stay back. So with 1-year experience, you may continue in the same company or easy to make it outside. Okay, only difference, those who did 1-year program went out and worked for 3 lakhs per month. But here, since it is a campus placement with a stipend, my salaries are only 2 lakhs. Fine. But still, that 1 year I work for a multinational in the core category and I come out. Or if you are confident, don't go for the placement year, straight away go to the industry. This works in many countries. So look at the importance given for placements. And the next point is scholarships. I think we touched upon. The height of it is free education in Germany, Stuttgart, Chemnitz, world top ranked universities telling you don't pay anything. If you are keen to finance, only condition, please learn our language and come. Please learn German and come. Only English will not work. But the moment you say I'm ready, then the entire Germany as a country is open for you. You can do your 2-year masters. There is a stay back, there is a placement, and the fees structure is absolute zero. You parallelly work, so your living is taken care. And the last one, settlement options. Let me tell you, this is not only in Germany. Let me tell you, this is not only in Germany. You get 40, 50. I'm made to get 50% scholarship in Australia in the recent past, 30% scholarships in New Zealand in the recent past. So according to your profile, your portfolio, your statement of purpose, we are experts to present you to the universities to get maximum scholarship options for your educations. Yeah. Now, finally, the settlement option. Team EasyLink, please check the visibility of the slide. I do not know whether there's a network issue. Yeah. Now, the settlement options. Many countries are giving you placements, and in year 3 or in year 4, they give you a lot of PR chances, permanent residencies. You know the benefits. The moment you get your PR, then you have a lot of benefits, like your children get free education, your spouse can go and work, you get your pensions, you get your medical free, etc., etc. So a lot of countries are PR friendly. So you get a lot of benefits out of in these countries to take care of your future plans and settlement options. Yeah. So there's a technical delay. I'm taking a minute to correct it. But if you ask me, in total, the benefits of international education, according to me, out of the 5, 2, 3 are very important. One is the range of options. Very important, the range of options according to your skill and interest. Second, 100% placement levels or 98% placement levels. Third, it's not all about finance. It's not about whether my family have got a financial capacity. It's not about whether my parents are educated. It's all about how do I respond. It's all about how do I respond, because even in an English speaking country, when you go for a program, the banks are funding you. State Bank and Federal Bank and Bank of Baroda, they are funding you. So don't worry about how will I pay the fee. And you know the beauty of it. When the banks are funding your education, your EMIs are not started. During education, there is no EMI. Even post-study, year 1, there is no EMI. For example, I'm going for 2-year master program. So your EMI is starting in the 4th year. So 2 years of education, 1 year of working, then the EMI starts. If you have taken 10 lakhs of an education loan, the EMI is around 7,000 rupees. Imagine my salaries are 3 lakhs and above in Europe per month, and my EMI is 7,000 in India. Or with 3 months of my income, I can maybe close down the loan. I believe in this big word called ROI, return on investment. I'm studying for 1 year, around 10 lakhs. In 3.5 months, I got it back. Look at this. So I hope you got the benefits of international education. Now, Isn't team, can I get my PowerPoint? Now let me tell you, let the PowerPoint work, let the technology come back. But meanwhile, let me tell you, there are 2 types of classifications. I'll take you through 1 and 2. Number 1 is according to the subject. Will I go to my core category or will I go to my diversifications? This is one type of choosing a program. Second one, based on the geographies. Will I go to X place or will I go to this place? Why? Will I take 1-year programs? Will I take only English speaking countries? Will I take X, Y, whatever? So there are 2 types of classifications. Number 1, according to the language and the duration. Number 2, according to the core and diversifications. Let me get into the core and diversifications first. I touched on this in the beginning. When I say core and diversification, in the core, you have all your favorites: finance, accounting, fintech, e-commerce. These are all core programs for you. So if you say, my passion is into accounting, financials, I liked it, I want to make a deep dive into it, proceed with the core categories and choose a country where there's a shortage, like your UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, etc., etc. You will not wait for a job. You will be, from the campus, you'll be absorbed, for sure. And I see a lot of students saying, no, sir, accounting is not my passion. I don't mind, but then it's not my passion. I love management. I love marketing, creating the demands. I love technology. I love hospitality tourism. I love content creations, or I love logistics supply chain kind of management programs. Don't hesitate at all. Equally good with your commerce background, with your accounting background. The moment you get into management, you will super shine. Like what I did with mathematics and management, you will super shine. So both the categories are to be viewed with equal importance. Number one is your core categories, and number 2 will be your diversified options. Yeah, let me correct my PPT for a moment. Yeah, I'm talking about this slide. Hope it is visible to you. There is something called core category, where you have accounting, finance, professional accounting, fintech, financial analysis, etc., etc. And you have a lot of diversified options, like your management options, like business analytics, MBA finance, procurement, supply chain, digital marketing, electronic commerce, global brand management, etc., etc. And please make a wise decision at this junction. Please make a wise decision at this junction, because it makes a lot of meaning to your life to get into a category where your passion lies, where your interest lies, and you will enjoy your life. Yeah, so I'm just giving you 2 differentiations, core and management. I hope all the participants are making notes. Since most of you are viewing it to YouTube, we have given you 2 WhatsApp numbers here. We have given you 2 WhatsApp numbers. One number ending at 001122, another one ending at 1500. Okay, so you can start putting your questions to this WhatsApp. The moment you get a question, make a note and then send it to the WhatsApp, because the chat options may not work here. Okay, so maybe during the Q&A session, we'll have enough questions and we can answer you one by one. I hope it is clear. Right, so we discussed about core and management. Second one, I'm talking about geography cuts. Will I take according to the duration of the program, or will I take English speaking together? Okay, this is the second way of looking at it. One is Ireland, UK, New Zealand, giving you 1 year programs in masters, and New Zealand also giving you 1 year PG diploma. I think about New Zealand, the team will speak to you in detail, so I don't want to touch upon. Okay, so the benefits of the first box, English speaking country, 1 year master program, your staybacks are up to 3 years, and there are a lot of big universities like TUD, yeah, Trinity, you know, it's world's #1 in Ireland, Manchester, Leeds, Coventry kind of universities in UK, Lincoln kind of universities in New Zealand. On the right side, you see, I told you about Central Europe, your Germany, Latvia, Lithuania kind of places, and Germany, the one, absolute free education, 2 years of masters, 18 months of stay back, and you have access to Schengen countries, which means from Germany, I can move to France, from to Italy, from there to maybe Austria, to Switzerland. It's a Schengen common visa, so you can move your geography and settle down also, and top class universities of the world. So first cut is 1 year English speaking, second is 2 year German, but fee absolutely free or negligible fees. And the third one, Canada, Australia kind of options, where the masters are of 2 years. Canada is giving you 1 year PG diploma, but it is with a 1 year stay back, so not a great idea. Preferably 2 year masters, Australia, Canada, strongest economies in the world, big PR options. Universities are like Manitoba, Alberta in Canada, Monash, RMIT, QT kind of colleges in Australia, etc., etc. So we now discussed about 2 classifications. One is about the core and diversifications, this one. And the other one is about the geography cuts and depending upon the duration of the program. Hope it is clear. Now we will show you a few sample programs as I discussed, and this is the last point, a few sample programs for you to understand, then we can move to the next session and Q&A. Yeah. Now look at some of the programs. 1 year master program, we discussed about it. In UK, in Ireland, in New Zealand, you get it for 1 year. And a lot of students ask me, what's the difference between 1 year and 2 year? Don't worry, in UK and Ireland, you don't have 2 year masters, it's 1 year. And with this, you can proceed for your PhD. So what else you want? And these are world's top ranked universities. So things are taken care of here. And look at the subject. I don't want to discuss each paper, but look at first point, performance management. Performance management. What will a finance program in India focus on? Top line, bottom line, profit or loss, and a bit of management to it. Here, the introduction paper itself, the subject itself is on overall performance management. So the finance manager can sit in 2 roles. One, as a finance person, saying no to all the budgets because there is no budget and cannot take risk. We have to be safe and we have to be profitable. And second set of people who understand overall performance of the company or who is responsible for overall performance of the company and need to ensure profits are coming in, maybe by investing a lot of money in other departments like marketing, HR, etc., etc. So overall performance management. I still remember in Unilever time, we had a problem in Kerala. You all will remember. Kerala, the whole state went for a strike. I was deputed to be in the team since I am from Kerala to discuss with the trade. Entire 10,000 plus retailers in Kerala said they will not sell Unilever product, which means customers will not get their Lifebuoy, Lex, Hamam, PS and Brew. Okay, we came for the discussion. I still remember I was discussing with the president of their union and he said, what are you talking about? 7%, which means when I sell a Lifebuoy of 10 rupees, I get some 60, 70 paisa. We don't do this. I cannot sell. Look at the reply from the finance department. Don't talk about profit. Talk about return on investment. What is your investment? I am giving you credit. The Lifebuoy sitting in your shop is not paid by you. I am giving you credits. And the entire marketing is done by me. People are coming and asking for it. It's not that you are selling. And thereby, return on investment. You have not invested anything. Whatever you get is free of cost. And this is more than 100% return on investment. In fact, let me tell you, this was some few years back, but in fact, let me tell you, they were not prepared to answer this. They did not do their homework, and we won. And they started selling Unilever products again. So it's not about debiting and crediting. It's not about balance sheets. It's not about profit. It is sometimes about profitability. It is sometimes about return on investments, etc., etc. And look at advanced audit and assurance, law and corporate since you're in a different country, strategies, research methods, best practices in the industry using primary, secondary data. Look at the depth of the program. That's why I said, once you do this kind of a program in finance, you are employable. Let someone asking in the interview board, why should I take you kind of questions? You will answer it in paragraphs. And in abroad, mostly the interviews are not 15-20 minutes. They will give you some 2-3 hours to do a mini project, and you will super shine because your depth is on practical applications. Yeah, showing some more sample programs. This program, our New Zealand team will explain to you in detail. CPA programs. If you do this Lincoln University's 1-year masters in finance, you are supported for CPA with a few years of experience. You can take the registration and practice as a professional there. Yeah, they will speak to you in detail about this. 1-year masters in finance and technology. Look at this. I always tell commerce students, your competition is not from another commerce student, but from the technology. I still remember in my professional corporate times, we had hundreds and hundreds of employees for billing. The moment Tally came, then we need only 2. Banks used to close down for 10-12 days for financial year closing in March in India. Today, they get their returns and profits every day. An HDFC bank manager, the moment he opened up his laptop in the morning, he gets the profitability of the previous day. Look at this, previous day profits. Because they know the fixed costs, they know the operational costs, they know the sales of the previous day, and it is calculated. My friend who's heading SpiceJet for Middle East, each flight when they take off, he gets the profit of the flight. I always used to kid him saying, you may get a heart attack, because every moment a flight take off, he get it, and he get a shock. Sometimes it's negative. So then he instruct next flight, no water, no food, because the number of tickets are sold. Fuel and other costs, they know. The moment they close the door, he get his message saying, this particular flight gives you XY. So look at the power of finance and technology. For next 20 years, next 30 years, if you have finance and technology combination, then you are there in the top of the industry. And you do a lot of data analysis for this, applied financial analytics for this, a lot of research methodologies for this. You get a lot of primary and secondary data. And always, I believe in understanding the data and making scientific decisions than going for a gut feel. Yeah. So this is 1-year finance and technology kind of programs in a lot of English-speaking countries. Look at business management and business analytics. I don't know how to tell you anything else. I've sent my son for this program. So what else you want? I've sent my son for this program. So convinced about it. Bulk data available in the industry. If you have the ability to convert this data to information, then your decisions will not go wrong. I was heading Reliance, I told you, for Kerala. Imagine 70,000 connections. Sorry, 70 lakhs connections. Will an Excel sheet work? No. Can you compute in your normal technology? No. I don't understand, and especially on technology, I'm very bad. But we got a department called MIS, Management Information System. They all are qualified with the business analytics. They understand the data. They convert it into informations and tell us, maybe in North Kerala, the Middle East calls are going down. Maybe in South Kerala, the US calls are going up. Within India, Assam, Bengal, Orissa calls are going up, down, etc., etc. The moment all this bulk big data is converted to information, then we management professionals know what to kind of decide, how to ask for budgets. Everything becomes scientific, and very rarely it go wrong. Even if it go wrong, no one will blame me because it was scientifically derived. Okay, so you need to know a lot of data mining, business analytics, business intelligence, applied research methods, business strategies, etc., etc. So you understand business. Just add analytics to it, maybe Python kind of programs, languages. Then you become a professional analyst. I have seen, dear participants, I have seen our own students within Kerala at Cochin earning more than 1 lakh in this particular department. For Kerala-based companies, more than 1 lakh a month as a business analyst, because the managing director and the director board cannot survive without this department. Yeah, and few more examples. finance management. I told you about this. You can sit in the company as a finance director who understands only finance, option number one. You can also sit there as a person who understands all other departments. Let me tell you very honestly, the second one will work in favor for the company. For example, a wise finance person who understands other departments will make beautiful comments and participation in the meeting saying, let us invest a little more in marketing. I'm sure we get returns because this is how the data looks like. Let us invest something on R&D. Let us invest something on HR. Let us take more people, because he understands the functioning for the departments. But a person in the director board of finance, in the management committee representing finance, if he understands only finance, I'm telling you, it's very tough for the departments to survive, because those who are looking at only profits without understanding the other categories will be a big liability for the company, this kind of people. So it's always good to do this kind of programs, because I have done my BCom, MCom, I understand commerce and finance. Let me add management to it. And the moment finance people add management to it, then the brands like Indo-American will get launched. He's my good friend. And a few years back, he resigned, and with his friend and his father funded, they said, this is a new category. There is only 1 or 2% of penetration to it. We all normally use coconut oil for head massages. But let me launch something called Indo-American. Only condition, the finance department should allow to invest money on creating awareness. The moment you apply, you get your hair growth, you stop your hair fall, etc. Can you communicate? Finally, they made a decision. Finance department made a decision. They will invest crores and crores on communicating, just giving the message. They don't have to say anything different. Just to inform people, if you do this in comparison to the normal coconut oil, this will work for you. And what happened? Became famous in Kerala. I'm just giving examples from our own state. Move to Tamil Nadu, move to Karnataka, move to Delhi, and later on, the world's largest company, where I worked for 11 years, Hindustan Unilever, bought it for 500 crores. And they also get some monthly profit sharing for next 5 years. Only one condition, they should not launch one more Indo-American. That's it. I hope you understand the power of finance person understanding other categories well. Yeah, and that's why the finance management programs. EasyLink team, I think PowerPoint once again is not in control. Now, let me tell you one more program called supply chain management. And this will be my last program. We have 7 more minutes. Supply chain management. A lot of students say, I don't get my passion on accounting. MS Finance is not my cup of tea. Technology is not my favorite. Can I work on general management programs? I always tell them, don't go generally. Try and become a specialist. Especially in global, general management is not a great idea. Try to be a specialist. In the interview, they will ask you, why should I take you? If I take you, what will you do for us? You must have a great answer. So you must have a specialist. So if you think technology and finance is not your favorite, then always look at programs like supply chain management, procurement, logistics, etc., etc. And New Zealand, Ireland, UK, waiting for young professionals from India doing this. Now, students and participants, many of you will think logistics means moving goods. No. Supply chain means just supplying. No. They can do miracles. They can do miracles, especially New Zealand kind of countries. The big part of their economy is based on supply chain, import and export. Yeah, I remember I worked 2 years in this department, operations management with Unilever. I remember I was a team member while shifting the factory, Lifebuoy factory from Gujarat to Tamil Nadu, because people thought the raw material is available in Gujarat, so it's always better to make it in Gujarat. But we said no, the manufactured Lifebuoy on a controlled temperature, shifting all the way from Gujarat to Tamil Nadu, Kerala, because these are the major 2 markets, it's very expensive. So the way we gave data, the way we presented, the finance department got convinced and finally shifted it into Trichy, Tamil Nadu. We started getting fresh stocks. There was no shortages, etc., etc. I hope you got the point. So logistics supply chain is not to move goods. They do miracles. Those who remember JIT was done by Unilever. in the past, just in time. I remember many of my distributors used to have 5 crore turnover a month, and they used to have huge godowns and some 70, 80 staff for loading, unloading vehicles, this, that. The moment we announced JIT, we said the salesman just go to the supermarkets with a palm top. Just look at the closing stock, because there is a norm fixed for a Elite supermarket in Thrissur. There is a norm. 7 boxes of Lifebuoy is enough for a week. We supply them every week. So the norm is 7. So the salesman need to only count the closing stock. That's it. He just count the closing stock. And if it is 3, he fill the balance of 4 because the norm is 7. And he do the same, some 20, 25 shops. In the evening, he send it back to the godown, not to the distributor, but to the C&FA. Yeah. And C&FA, the night shift team will work on billing in the night. And next day, the vehicle from C&FA will straight away go, this supply chain I'm talking about, will go to the market. I'll repeat, no godown, no investment, no 60, 70 employees, because my salesman today got a norm. He don't have to even talk. He only have to look at the closing stock. As per the norm, he punch in the orders to the palm top, and the evening it is sent to the C&FA, not to my godown. In C&FA, night shift, they bill and load it and keep it ready. From the C&FA, the vehicle straight away go to the market. Look at the huge cost cutting. The distributor don't have to buy, invest, no godown, no loading, unloading, and we were able to reduce our margins from 4.7 to 3%. Look at the number of thousands and thousands of crores that we saved from this project. So supply chain is not a general game. They do miracles. And we have limitations on time and maybe a few programs on digital marketing, a few programs on operations management, global brand management, banking and investment, etc., etc. Yeah. So just to summarize the session, yeah, we said 2 things: our own ability to convert concepts into practical applications, point number 1, and thereby look for practical oriented programs. And global education gives you a lot of opportunities. The weightage to the theory is given only 20 to 30%, and balance 70 is on your practical applications. And parallelly you work part-time and you got to stay back, and 90 to 95 is the placement percentages in many of the colleges and institutions. Point number 2, there is something called demand versus supply, or there is something called critical skill shortage of a country. So choose a location, choose a country which suits your requirements, or you suit their requirements. Yeah. And we gave you a lot of options between 1-year masters, a lot of options between 2-year masters with placements. Stay back, and I have given you some of the samples for your core and some of the samples for your diversifications. Yeah. Thank you so much. Sharp on time. I think we can move to the next session. The New Zealand team should be ready by this time. Anushri, New Zealand team, please introduce them, and then we can continue. Dear participants, let me once again tell you, we have given you 2 WhatsApp numbers. Yeah. One is 9072 001122. And we have given you one more. Yeah. One more number. Yeah. 1500 ending. There are 2 numbers given to you. So please make a note and put your questions during Q&A. After New Zealand programs presentation is over, you can ask us questions, and we all 3 will be ready to answer your queries. Thank you so much. Over to you, Anushri. Anushri, you are on mute, I think.
Anushri, you are on mute, I think. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So we have a question here.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Can you explain about the opportunities for doing postdoc research abroad?
Research in abroad. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Preferably, the moment we apply research in abroad directly, the response are low from big countries. When I say English-speaking, financially sound kind of countries are preferring students from their own universities to go for their PhDs. Yeah. So it's always very strongly advised to go for an MS there, and you can continue with your PhD options. Those who have done your MCom and MBA, directly when you apply to PhD, the response are very low. Yeah. So the moment you do 1-year masters in these kind of universities, they invite you for PhD, you can proceed with a big stipend. We can help you. We can support you. Any more questions?
Thanks.
Anushri, you're not audible.
Yeah, I think now it's clear.
Yeah, clear. Yeah, continue.
Thank you so much, sir, for the session. Sir, we have a question. What is the scope of FinTech program?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, and I have explained this in 10-12 minutes. I'll repeat. The competition to a finance professional is not from another finance professional, it's from the technology. Yeah, so the combination of finance and technology will give you a huge career for next 25 years. I have told you the examples of HDFC Bank. They get their profitabilities on a daily basis. I told you about SpiceJet. They get their profits on flight by flight when they take off. That big is the technology today. So the moment you combine finance and technology, and you have got programs in UK, in New Zealand, and in Ireland, your placements are to the tune of 100%, and these are very highly paid occupations. It's a beautiful program. We can give you 1-year master programs. Please contact us. We can help you with big scholarship options.
Can you differentiate between 1-year and 2-year master programs?
There is no big difference from the job point of view, because Ireland and UK and New Zealand are giving you 1-year masters. Australia and Canada cannot give you 1-year masters because the program is designed such a way that it is for 24 months. Yeah, if you see all the doctors using MS Ortho from London in your nearby hospitals, or when I say 1-year masters can continue for their PhD even without an MPhil, or when I say many of these are ranked less than 1,000 in the world ranking, I hope you'll understand the power of the program. So there is no big difference from the job market, from the job point. But if someone say, I want to come back to India and I want to do my MPhil here, or if I want to come back to India and I want to do my PhD, please tell us in advance while choosing. Then we give that kind of a university for you to continue your education in India, because they need to have a tie-up. Any more questions?
Yes, sir. We have one more question. Which is better to opt for? A 1-year program or 1-year program plus 1-year internship program?
I personally believe this 1+1 will help you big time, but this purely depends upon your profile. I have seen a lot of students saying, sir, in New Zealand, in UK, we know how to look for a job because it is an English-speaking country and all our seniors are placed. So I don't want a placement here from the campus. It's very easy. And I got to stay back of 2 or 3 years time. So there is no tension. In New Zealand, I have got 3 years. In UK, I have got 2 years. So no tension. This is one set of categories. Second set of people say, I want a particular job profile of finance and technology. I wanted to have a profile of business analyst. I want a profile of XY, and I want to ensure I'm getting that particular profile. Okay. Then if you think after reaching there, after 6 months, if you think you wanted to opt placement here, we can still make it even after reaching there. If you think you need to convert, we can still convert and give it to you placement here. Then they conduct a job fair. They charge you some £2,000 for it in UK, and New Zealand team will explain that to you in New Zealand. Yeah. Now, with that, you get a chance for some 15 or 13 interviews, and they ensure that you are working for 1 more year. You cannot break it in between. The moment you take a placement here, you may have to continue and complete this. So it will become a 2-year program. 1 year in the campus, 1 year in the company. This help you big time to continue in the same company, or this with 1 year experience of a company there. Very easy to get the similar job profile in other countries. So this is very safe. But considering the current scenario with a stay back and etc., I think even 1 year works. So depending upon your profile and confidence level, you can choose between these two. Yeah.
Yes, sir. We have one question on the screen. Which
I think we can keep this as the last question. Our New Zealand team should be ready. After the New Zealand presentation, we can have a common Q&A session where students can ask more questions. Yeah. Last question. Anushri.
Yeah, which country is best for careers in finance?
That's a tough question. I told you about finance core, finance and technology, e-commerce, and a lot of diversified options like business analytics, supply chain logistics, etc. And the sheet which I've shown you have given you the critical skill shortage of each country. Yeah. So if you ask me which country is the best, all these 3 countries, yeah, New Zealand, UK, Ireland, for 1 year programs. If you are willing to invest for 2 years, then Australia, Canada kind of countries. So all these countries, I did not say any other countries with less scope for finance. So all these countries have equal opportunities, and Team New Zealand will tell about their country in detail. But let me tell you, I have not seen in any of the English speaking countries with 1 year master program, not seen someone without placement in 2 or 3 months time post the program. So that's my kind of guarantee. But if you particularly ask me which college and country I should choose, depends upon what kind of profile you want. Maybe we can do it on one-to-one discussions. Use technology, dear participants. We have given you 2 WhatsApp numbers. You can book appointments for one-to-one discussions. Yeah, I can explain this once again after the next presentation. Book it. We can get professionals to discuss with you, counsel you, and it's absolutely free of cost. You don't have to come to us. We can use technology for doing all this. Yeah. So Anushri, over to you. Let us start New Zealand presentation. Then we can go for Q&A end of the session. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I think the resource person for our next session has joined us, Dr. Hafsa Ahmad. She's the faculty of the Department of Global Value Chains and Trade of Lincoln University, New Zealand. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us in the session today.
Thank you very much for having me. Can you all
It's a
hear me
pleasure to
well?
have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me well?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Excellent. Right. So I'm going to start off with a very unusual discussion, I think, over here, because Annie and I talked about what I should be focusing on. So I'm going to be sharing my screen, if that's okay.
Yes, ma'am, you can share it.
Right. So I'm going to talk about my journey here into New Zealand. And also about the focus of this whole discussion this evening. But what I thought was, before beginning with why I am here, I wanted to begin with who I am. So then there is an opportunity for during the Q&A to answer some questions that might come up. And if I'm too fast, could you please tell me that I am very fast?
Ma'am, it's okay. Your current pace is okay. No issue.
Okay, excellent. Right. So this is my story. I come from Hyderabad in India, and way back in 2007. So I began my career in India and I worked as a manager operations there way back in 2006. But I wanted to pursue my PhD in change management, so I decided to look for opportunities. And when I started looking for opportunities, I had applied to the UK, like we do. We go to agents and we go to consultants, and I had the opportunity to apply for UK, USA, Australia, and New Zealand. We did have offers from the UK, but we ended up going with New Zealand for a very specific reason, because when I could do my PhD, my husband could get a work visa. So we decided New Zealand was the best option. But what I didn't know, New Zealand was something I learned in geography when I was in school. I didn't realize that the temperature difference would be my biggest challenge. So I was 36 degrees in nice and warm Hyderabad, coming to New Zealand in peak winter, where the average temperatures are around 11 degrees. But that didn't stop me. So I came here to do a PhD, and that's what I'm going to talk about mostly. So I started my career here, and I was accepted as a PhD student at Lincoln University, where I completed my PhD. Once I completed my PhD so my PhD focused on business management with a focus on stakeholder engagement and change management. So once I finished my PhD, I think even before I got my examination done, the oral for the PhD, I had a job as a policy advisor at the regional council here, which was Environment Canterbury. And that's where my career started here officially. I was doing part-time jobs when I was working, when I was doing my research. And my research journey here has been quite interesting in the sense that I have learned so much from what I was in India to what I have become today here. So as a policy advisor, I was responsible for providing advice on strategic matters to the regional council. This also involved working with a lot of council members, which is always an interesting experience because you're working a lot with politics in there. After that, I decided that I wanted to go back into academics, become a lecturer. That was my dream because my dad was a professor of mathematics way back in India. So I really wanted to push myself back into academics for just because I love the idea of sharing knowledge. So I moved to ARA, which is the polytechnic here, which offers bachelor's level degree to uh, at the max. So I was working there as an academic, and over there again, I made sure that as a researcher, the focus again for me was to improve my research skills and to continue to learn. And that's where I decided that I wanted to even pursue an industry qualification. So when Mr. Sony was talking about, the opportunities with the fintech and how technology is really critical for finance, I couldn't agree more with him, because you have to keep yourself updated with the latest technologies to keep yourself moving up in your career. So while I was at ARA, I pursued my project management professional certification. That allowed me to open up a new window in my career around making sure my research and stakeholder engagement, change management, and project management aligned. And I was able to progress further while doing a lot more research projects with a lot more experience. And part of what the experience for my project management certification came from working in the industry at the regional council, where I was leading 2 staff development projects across the organization, training staff and finalizing a lot of approaches on organizational behavior changes. But what all this, possibly around 8 years, have taught me while I was working there was, the first thing I learned during my PhD and when I finished my PhD was that you will never know it all. So the perception that once I do this, I'm going to know this perfectly is wrong. So that's what I realized. And then I realized that continuous learning is really critical to improving yourself. And the third thing that, as you know, all universities expect in the developed nations is critical evaluation. It's your ability to question the most well-known academic work, because you cannot believe everything to be true. You have to look at it from a critical lens and go, what is it that you are trying to say here, and whether I agree or do not agree. That was my biggest challenge when I came here, because I did not learn that in the education system that happens to be in India. But I think over the years I have learned that, and I noticed that a lot of these international students who come to university slowly get there once they are given ideas on how they need to critically evaluate the academic work that's been provided to them. So what do I actually do at Lincoln University? So after my career at the regional council at the Polytech, I moved on to get a role at Lincoln University. I have been a lecturer here since 2019. I am the chair of the postgraduate committee for the faculty. So the faculty is called the Faculty of Agribusiness and Commerce. It takes care of 4 specific departments. So there's a financial and business systems department. There is an agribusiness and markets department, global value chains and trade, and land management and systems. So I belong to the global value chains and trades, and possibly of your interest could be financial and business systems, depending on what I'm looking at in the conference schedule. And in terms of my research focus that I have developed now, so over the past 8 odd years, what I have realized is I have to pick a very small niche where I want to focus my energy on, in addition to the responsibilities I hold in the university. And that has become stakeholder ecosystem understanding. What I am also passionate about is that my research begins to make an impact to the community that I'm part of. So the most important thing that I do is focus on the principles of responsible management education. So that includes looking at existing degrees and making sure that they are actually aligning with what the industry wants. In addition to that, there is focus in my research on goal number 17 of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which might be of interest to a lot of audience here. It's an opportunity to go and look these up. So the UN Sustainable Development Goals are pretty ambitious goals for the world, where this decade is being called as the decade of action. So my specific focus is 17, which is focusing on how we get partnerships going to ensure that the goals are achievable. And a very specific area I also focus on is mega projects, which countries implement, so the big infrastructure projects that happen. What I have noticed, and like I said, in my experience as a researcher, has been about critical evaluation. And that has led me to question some of the approaches that we have at universities. And when the lockdown happened, there were a lot of things that I saw that we could do. It opened up a window of opportunity. So I went ahead and started off two podcasts, one for the university, and I am a member of the Australia and New Zealand Academy of Management. So I started doing one with the Australian and New Zealand Academy of Management and one for the university. What I would do was go ahead and interview academics to find out what their research is about. Now, academic articles are written in a way that only academics can read. My idea was, if academics are doing research, they need to be able to tell common people what their research is about. So through these two podcasts, I think they've been pretty successful, and I have received a lot of appreciation from both the academics and a lot of people who have watched these, that it has helped them. But the whole reason I was driven to do this was not because I wanted to get fame. The idea here was, there is so much wonderful research out there that is academic, which can be translated in a way that can bring an aha moment to somebody else who is watching these. So that's how it transitioned into something which I think is called a psychological richness, where I have learned so much more and I have built networks. And networks is another key area that helps you a lot when you are pursuing your degrees across the universities. What I also wanted to talk to you was how New Zealand has given me the opportunity to do more than just doing my degree and my job. So in my private life, I do a lot of impact work with the community. And these are some of the projects that I have worked on as a community person, in terms of making sure that my knowledge that I have picked up through my academic research and my skills is being transferred to the world, where we are helping out community organizations and building social cohesion. So a part of what I focus a lot on is about social cohesion, because of what New Zealand's been through a mosque attack on 15th of March 2019 around racism, and how to tackle racism, how to build cohesive societies. But I believe that's a part of my life that I cannot just cut off when I'm talking about myself. So I just wanted to mention that, because it's an important area where I feel that a lot of the students also find value who come here, because they begin to contribute to these projects as well. So, how does this help you? How does listening to my journey help you? I think there are a few things that I wanted to highlight here. The first one is the New Zealand experience. Now, coming from Hyderabad, I think New Zealand back in 2007 was a place which represented or looked similar to what Hyderabad was when I grew up. So it provided me those childhood memories again, I thought. And other than that, the people of New Zealand are amazing. They are very kind, generous, and honest people. And I have learned so much being here 15 years of my life. So that's one reason that can help you in New Zealand. And if you come with a learning attitude, which I assume most of you will, because you'll be coming here for your studies, is if you bring your learning attitude and an open mind to explore, opportunities, not just on campus, but I have given you an indication that you could look at, like, you can have internships, but it's not just about working for those organizations, your opportunities, if you want, could be in the public sector and the not-for-profit sector as well. In fact, the government here is now opening up graduate internships for people of ethnically diverse backgrounds. And the last thing is that I think this is more of an attitude thing and around not approaching things with a finite mindset, in the sense that not saying that this is where I'm going to stop, because often we come to a country to pursue a degree and go, I'm going to pursue my degree, I'm going to get a job, and that's about it. Think of it as an infinite mindset approach, where you are pushing yourself a little bit beyond and going, if I can do this, what else can I do? So those are my takeaways for you in your, in being an international student here in New Zealand. Some point in time, this is what I had experienced, and I thought this is what advice I would share with people who are intending to come here. Now, the last bit is my contact details. So if you want to connect with me and just have a conversation, you can to find out more about Lincoln University or my research, you can email me, or I'm also on LinkedIn. So often people, when they speak, people go onto LinkedIn profiles and just sneak. I welcome you to connect with me and just say that, oh, hey, I listened to your presentation at FinTech. I'd be interested in connecting with you. So I don't have a problem with that. And I wish everyone good luck. So I'm going to stop my presentation now and pass it on to the rest of the team from Lincoln University. Annie or Patrick. I'm not sure who is next.
Thank you, Dr. Hafsa Ahmad.
You're welcome.
Madam Annie Ghosh. Are you available in the studio?
Divya ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Patrick sir has joined us.
Okay.
I think he will be leading the next session.
Okay, please introduce him.
Yeah. Hi, Patrick sir.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, fine. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah. For our audience, Patrick Young is the International Operations Manager of Lincoln University. A hearty welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. We are really feeling good that you have joined us here today for the session.
Yeah.
So shall we begin?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Now, thank you so much for Dr. Hasper, share of her experience. So now I'm just going to give you a little bit of a sort of a background information about Lincoln University, and so maybe one day you'll be able to sort of follow Dr. Hasper journey, and then come over to Lincoln, and then you will go through your study, and then maybe find a job in New Zealand, or maybe even at Lincoln University. So I'm just gonna share my screen too, so you can see my PowerPoint. So let me just open this. I hope you can see. I hope everyone can see this. So hang on. Oh yeah. Okay. So just a little bit of background about Christchurch or New Zealand as well. As you can see on the map on the right-hand side, this is where New Zealand is located, and then Christchurch is in the bottom island, which is in the South Island in New Zealand. So we are the largest city in the South Island, and we are also the second largest city in New Zealand. In the places that we can are very sort of close in proximity, so it is very sort of convenient to go to different places within Christchurch. So, for example, if you live in the Christchurch city centre, you only take about 20 minutes to go to the Lincoln campus. And in New Zealand, people in New Zealand like to do a lot of outdoor activities. So it is actually quite convenient to go out, sort of explore the country as well. So it's all within sort of 1 or 2 hours if you want to go out to hiking, do some jet boating, or do some skiing. Okay, you might not have skied in India before, but you know it's something that you might want to try when you come over to New Zealand. Now, just moving on, I think this is what Dr. Hasper has mentioned before as well. Is the temperature, which is something that you might not get used to at the very beginning. In Christchurch, what we often say is that we have 4 seasons in one. Actually, we have. I personally think we have 4 seasons in one day. Okay, within the same day, you could experience sort of different temperature. But here is just a snapshot of what our winter, spring, summer, and autumn sort of look like. So even during summertime, we won't get like 30 or 40 degrees. We hardly get that. So usually it's about sort of 12, 15 to about 25 degrees. Around that, between November to February, which is sort of now-ish, and also March. And then the Christchurch city is not even though it's the second largest city in New Zealand, but it's actually not a big city compared to other cities in other big countries. We have about 400,000 people in Christchurch, so it's a very beautiful city, as you can see here on some of the pictures, which I encourage you to go on Instagram and then join these hashtags. You'll be able to find out more pictures and information about the city. Okay. Now, just a little thing about Lincoln University as well, just a bit of a background too. So Lincoln University, we are ranked in the 382 in the QS ranking this year. So we are also ranked number 18th in terms of small university in the world. And we are very sort of specialized in the agriculture subject area. So we are ranked in the top 100 in agriculture. Okay. Now, here are some of the facts about Lincoln. Maybe we'll start on the left-hand side. Is that of course we attract sort of different urban and rural students. So whether you're living in the country or living in the countryside, big city or small city, we attract a wide range of students from overseas and also within New Zealand as well. So when you are coming here to New Zealand as an international student, you will be able to meet with different people from around the world, and also people within New Zealand as well. Now, we have a very high course completion rate, which is about 91% course completion rate. I'm not saying that because our courses are very easy. Okay, that's not true. But we do have a very high level of support for our students. So we are the smallest university in New Zealand, but we have a lot of academic staff members in New Zealand, in Lincoln. So our student to staff ratio are actually #1 in New Zealand. So that means students are able to get more personal support from their teachers. So for example, like Dr. Hasper, you'll be able to get to know her during her class. If you're in one of her classes, then she'll be able to support you, okay, provide you with more personal support. And you are also a name to her, not just a number in the classroom. Okay, so the teachers will actually get to know you, about who you are, and if you have any problem or any questions during your course, your study, your teachers will be able to provide you with immediate support, so you can do well in your course. Okay, so this is why we have a genuine student to staff interaction at Lincoln. Okay. Lincoln University is also a very sort of a highly sort of research focused university as well. So we have about 14 research centers at Lincoln, and something here at the bottom you can see here, we are ranked #1 in New Zealand for research revenue per academic staff member. So basically that means our staff members are highly sort of research focused. And our research is also highly recognized by our industry and also by the New Zealand government as well. Okay. And another important fact is that our employment rate. Okay, so because our courses are highly relevant to our New Zealand industry, so we also have a very high employment rate as well. So our employment rate is about 6% higher than any other universities in New Zealand. So this is for our level 7 or above qualification, which is like our master's or PhD students. So the employment rate is higher than other universities. So again, here is just some of a quick summary of our university. So we first started in 1878. Okay, as a agriculture school, but now we've become the specialized land-based university in New Zealand. Now, this is what I mentioned before about our staff, our best staff to student ratio. Okay, so this is we have got the best staff to student ratio within New Zealand. We have about 3,000 students at Lincoln. About 1,000 are international students from over 70 different countries. Okay, now on the right hand side, just a few quick photos of what our campus looks like. As you can sort of tell, it's a sort of a relaxing and a garden-like campus. Now, in terms of our areas of specialization, we have sort of 10 main focus of our specialties. First of all, like I said, we are an agriculture-focused university, so agriculture, horticulture, viticulture will be our #1. But of course, business, where Dr. Hasberg's faculty came from, is also one of our top areas of specializations as well. In fact, the Faculty of Agribusiness and Commerce is actually the biggest faculty at Lincoln. Okay, so apart from that, we also focus a lot on environment, property, sports, food, wine, beer. We also have some foundation pathways as well, landscape architecture, science programs, and also tourism programs. Okay, so we're going to go into a little bit more details about some of the programs that might be suitable for you. Which are the postgraduate programs. So here is our postgraduate pathways for you. So say you have finished your bachelor degree in your university. Here are some of the pathways that you can do depending on your bachelor background and also your grades from your bachelor as well. Okay, so you can start off with say a graduate diploma, or you can do maybe a postgraduate diploma. Or, if you want to do a bit more higher level study, you can do a talk master or research masters, and then eventually move on to a PhD. Okay, so here is some of the examples of what you could do depending on your background. So these are the qualifications that you could do that I just mentioned. So you've got a graduate diploma option. Now this one is a 2 semesters program, and usually this is for students who already have a bachelor degree, but they are wanting to change their field. Okay, so I understand that maybe most of you are sort of a commerce students. So maybe after your commerce degree, you might want to change to do some, for example, like maybe viticulture, doing some winemaking. Then you will be able to change by doing a graduate diploma, which is only a 1-year program. Okay, now If you want to finish your bachelor degree and you want to do some more further studies within the same field, then you could do a postgraduate diploma, and you will need a bachelor degree with some background in the subject area, okay, which is in the same area that you want to study, with an average grade of B minus. Sorry, B minus. I think just ignore this percentage here because I think it's not the same as your university. So if you just look at your B minus, your B minus would be around, I think it's around 55%, I think, in your university. Now, if you have a higher grade, say like a B average, okay, just ignore that, B average, then you have the option to go into a master's degree. So whether it's a taught master or a research master's. So I think the previous speaker has sort of briefly mentioned about taught masters and research masters, but in New Zealand here, we offer these two types of masters. So as the name suggests, taught masters means it's coursework master. So you won't have to do any research within your masters. You only have to do your assignments, do your exams, and maybe do a small sort of a dissertation essay. Then you'll be able to gain your master's degree. Now, the other option is a research master's, which means you will have to write a thesis. And to get into the program, you will also need a research proposal on a topic that you want to do. So, and of course, when you finish your research master, you have a option to pathway onto a PhD. Okay, so if you're thinking of wanting to get into the to get a PhD degree, or you want to move into the academic space, then usually students would choose a research master degree. But if you're wanting to, get a higher level qualification, and then you want to find a job in New Zealand, then usually students would choose a taught master's degree. Okay. So here are some of the qualifications that we offer in the graduate diploma level, which is a 1-year level 7 program. Okay, so we have 2 intakes per year, in February or in July. Okay, so like I said before, you will need to have finished a bachelor degree with an IELTS 6.5 level. But if you're doing a graduate diploma in commerce, we only require a IELTS 6.0. Okay, and then when you finish your graduate diploma in New Zealand, you will be eligible to apply for a 1-year post-study work visa. So that will allow you to stay in New Zealand to find a job. Okay, so on the left-hand side, you will see the different options that we have for graduate diploma. So for example, in the graduate diploma in commerce, you've got choices to do like an accounting, finance, a global business, supply chain management, etc. Okay, and like I said before, if you want to change your major, okay, you could probably look at, say, property management or viticulture, which is winemaking, or if you want to get into the science area, you could do an applied science, sort of focusing on food science, plant science, or animal science, etc. Okay. Now, just to also mention here, food science is a very high-valued subject in New Zealand, because in New Zealand we are very much, like I said before, it's very much agriculture focused and also food focused as well. So every year we export a lot of food or fruits to overseas. So food science is something that we have many international students studying, and also they will be able to find good jobs when they finish their degree as well. Okay. Now, moving on to the postgraduate diploma option, we do have a postgraduate diploma, which is 1 year. Now, this is a 1-year postgraduate diploma, and then you can choose your different majors, okay? Whether it's finance or marketing or economics, supply chain management, you can do that, okay? And then But of course, to get into the program, you will need to have a B- average. Okay. Now, if you want to do a research master's, we also have the option of Masters of Commerce and Management, which is 2 years. Okay. Now, in the 2 years, the first year that you do essentially is the postgraduate diploma in commerce. Okay. So you will do that first, do that in the first year, and then in the second year, you will need to get into your research. Okay. So to get into this master's, you will need a B average in your bachelor degree and also a research topic. Okay. And once again, we've got two semesters intake for this course, which is February and July. Okay. And when you finish these programs, you will be able to get a 3 years post-study work visa. Okay, because it's a higher level, so you get more years basically. Okay, if you do a graduate diploma, it's only 1 year. This one is 3 years. Now, if you're not really interested in sort of doing the research masters, or if you don't want to do a thesis, you are not planning to move on to PhD level, if you just want to sort of finish a higher qualification and then maybe find a job in New Zealand, then a taught master's degree is highly recommended. Okay, so this is a level 9 program. It's 180 credits, in, which is a credit system that we use in New Zealand, and usually it's a 3-semester study. Okay, 3 semester studies between 12 to 18 months. And like I said before, there is no research component. Okay, so you don't have to do that. You don't have to do the research. And here are some of the programs that might be suitable for you. So for example, we've got the Masters of Business in Finance, Global Management in Marketing, Management in Agribusiness, Professional Accounting, Sports and Recreation Management, Tourism Management, and also a new IT program, which is called the Masters of Applied Computing. Okay. Now, to get into these programs, you will need a B average in the final year of your bachelor degree. Okay. And you also need an IELTS 6.5. Okay. And if you have a B+ average in your final year, you will be able to get some scholarship as well. So which we'll go through that later. And most of these degrees have 3 intakes. So we have a February intake, we have a June intake, and we also have a November intake. Okay, so each intake you will study 60 credits, so adds up to 180 credits. Now, if you start in November, okay, if you start in November, you will be able to finish your program within 12 months. Okay, so you will do back-to-back study. But if you start in February or July, you will finish within 18 months. Okay, so you will have a holiday in November, between November to February. You will enjoy a summer holiday in New Zealand here. Okay, so here are some of the details of our master's degree. So the first one that is called the Masters of Business in Global Management and Marketing. So like I said before, we do have 3 intakes, okay, February, July, and November. Now, during your first semester, you will be doing some sort of the basic foundation type of commerce programs, like economics, accounting, and finance. Principles of Business Management, I think this is the course that is taught by Dr. Hasper as well. And then you also do marketing and also some research skills as well. Okay, and then when you finish this, you will move on to the more of the advanced courses about the marketing and sort of management side of things. And also important thing here is we also teach about the supply chain theory as well, so within the marketing subject area. And then finally, you will be doing a strategic business analysis courses, which is what we call a capstone course. So you will be given a special project that you, it could be a real life sort of sample project that what maybe a question that a current business is facing that you will need to provide some solution to. So it is a very sort of a practical sort of type of course that you have to do. Okay, so for this program, the entry requirements again is B average in the final year of your bachelor degree from any background. So you don't have to have a marketing background. So if you're doing economics, that's fine as well. So you can join this program from any background. Okay, and we also don't look at any work experience as well. So you don't need to have any work experience. Okay, now if you're not a marketing person or like a people person, you're more like a numbers person, you could look at a finance area within the Masters of Business. So again, the first semester you will be doing sort of the basic foundation courses, and then in the second and third semesters you will be doing this more specialized courses in the finance theory or commercial banking, investment management, etc. Okay, and the entry requirements are the same as the global management and marketing. Now, moving on, it's our professional accounting. So this is a very special program that we work with CPA Australia. We are the first one and also the only university in New Zealand who's working with CPA Australia, which is the Certified Practicing Accountant. So basically, when you finish the master's degree, you will also be able to fulfill the CPA requirements, and then you will become a full CPA Australia membership. So if you have an accounting background, you will be able to, depending on your background and your courses, you may be able to get a Australian associate membership. Once you've got that, you will meet the entry requirements to get into our professional accounting program. When you finish a program, and then when you complete your 3 years work experience, you will become the full CPA Australia member. Okay, so and of course, which is recognized in basically recognized around the world. Okay, so not just New Zealand or Australia. So even when you go back home, it will also be recognized as well. Now, if you don't have an accounting background, if you're in economics, okay, you want to change your background, you will have to do like a pathway certificate first, which is a 4 months pathway certificate. And then when you finish, you can move on to the associate membership and then the master's program, and then eventually get the CPA Australia membership. Okay. Now, moving on to the next one is our tourism management program. Tourism is also another very, very important industry in New Zealand, even though tourism is not doing very well around the world right now. But of course, after COVID, we'll be pretty sure that tourism will be back, will come back to New Zealand. So it is also a very great program at Lincoln as well. We have the sort of the longest serving teaching of tourism management in New Zealand. So we have the oldest tourism management program in New Zealand. So again, it is a 3 intakes option. And here is just some of the courses that you will be doing within the tourism program. And apart from, so I wouldn't go into a lot of details in here, but to get into the tourism management, you will need to have some sort of background in the area. So it could be tourism or hospitality related, maybe some social science or marketing or economics or business management as well. Okay. Now, apart from tourism management, we also have a sports and recreation management program as well, which is more on the sports area or sports science, and also the sort of the recreation tourism type of area. And again, you will also be, you can also do some business courses as well. So even for a student in a business background, you may be able to get into this program too. Okay. Now, last but not least is our Masters of Applied Computing, okay, which is our new IT program. And the good thing about this IT program is that we allowed students to join this program from any background, okay? So even if you have never done IT in the past, you will be able to get into this program if you meet the grades requirement, okay? So within the program, you will do a software development course, which is like programming courses. You will also be doing some web technology, so like creating websites. And you will also be doing some individual project as well, okay? So, and one of the greatest thing about this program is that in your third semester, you will be involved with an industry project, okay? So we will connect you with a supervisor or mentor from the IT industry in Christchurch or in New Zealand, and then you will be doing a 300 hours project together, okay? And then at the end, you will need to produce a report and then do a presentation about your project. So it's a very great way to for you to connect with the industry, so you can build up a lot of connections and networks, and maybe this will help you to find your job in the future, okay? So yes, so again, for February, July, and November intake, and then students can be from any background, okay? So you should have some basic computing skills, some logical thinking, problem-solving skills. But like I said, even if you don't have that, we will also be able to look at your grades, and then you will be able to get into the program as well, okay? So here is just a quick snapshot again about our entry requirements. Okay, so we'll look at your based on your final year of the degree. For example, your year 3s at B average, and IELTS 6.5 or Pearson tests. Now, we also have the scholarship here, which is if you receive a B+ average in your final year of bachelor degree, which is around 65% average, okay, for your university, then you will be able to receive a scholarship, okay? I think I've got that on the next slide of the scholarship. Yes, okay. So before on the scholarship here, okay. So you will receive a $10,000 New Zealand dollar scholarship for these programs, and a $7,000 scholarship for the IT program, which is the Applied Computing program, okay? Back onto this slide, this is just to give you an idea of the fees, okay? The tuition fees, and also the other insurance fees, and also living expenses, okay? And just to give you an approximate idea, okay? So currently, 1 New Zealand dollar equals to about 50 Indian rupees, okay? So you can sort of do the maths and sort of work out approximately how much you will need. Okay, won't go through here. These are just some of the key dates of our semesters. Like I mentioned before, our semesters 1 starts in February, semester 2 starts in July, and then our summer semester starts in November, okay, which is here, November, okay. Now, if you're coming to New Zealand, here are different accommodation options for you. You could choose to stay in a homestay, or we've also got on-campus accommodation as well, so you live in the university. We've got the fully catered options, which includes 3 meals, free Wi-Fi, and free access to our gym. Or you'll be in the self-catered option, so you'll be sharing your house with, say, 3 other students, but you have your own room, but you will have to buy your own food and do your own cooking, okay? So if you like cooking, you can choose this option. And we also have a free airport pickup service as well, for either you stay in the on-campus accommodation or stay in the homestay, okay? Other information for you, in terms of work rights, okay, if you study in New Zealand full-time, you will be able to do some part-time work, so you can do up to 20 hours a week. And currently, we have a minimum wage, minimum pay in New Zealand, which is changed now or shortly, which is going to become 20 New Zealand dollars per hour, before tax. Okay, so you'll be able to sort of 20 hours a week, so you'll be able to earn at least $400 a week. Okay, per week. Okay, and of course, like I mentioned before, after graduation, you will be able to apply for a student post-study work visa for up to 3 years. Okay, and here are just some of the links that you can have a look if you're finding a job. So, like for example, like Student Job Search, Seek, Train Me. These websites are the websites that people in New Zealand normally use to find full-time jobs or part-time jobs. Okay. Now, again, this is Dr. Haspa contact details. If you need to contact her, here are her details. And if you need to find out more about our programs, we've got AnyGo, which is my colleague who cannot be here tonight. But here's her contact details, her WhatsApp number, and also you can contact Mr. Vinter as well to organize your application and also your student visa preparation. So here is me. So thank you so much for listening to a short presentation. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your wonderful session.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do we have any questions? We are ready to take some questions. Yeah, sir, can you see the question?
Yep. Okay, so I see a question in professions in demand in New Zealand. Okay, so like I sort of mentioned before, in New Zealand we are very much focused on agriculture or food science or in the tourism area, which is not really right now. But if you really want to look at the professions that are in demand, you should probably look at what are the biggest industries in New Zealand. In New Zealand, it's more about agriculture and food science, and we do have hire a lot of people to get into this sector. So within the so for example, within the primary industries, we actually hire about 70% of the New Zealand people who are sort of employed in the primary industry sectors. So some of these sectors will be sort of in demand. And if you do want to find another way to find out which professions are in demand, is you should probably look at the what we call the skills shortage list in the immigration website, so New Zealand immigration website. So this is something that you can have a look at and see what sort of professions are needed in New Zealand. Okay, and which I think you will find professions in, for example, like food science, or even in the IT area is in demand in New Zealand. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, we have another question. What is the probability of completing the CPA program within the defined time? Like how many students have completed in the first attempt itself?
You mean like completing the whole program, right?
Yeah, completing the program. Yeah.
Okay. I would say it's a very high percentage. Because basically for the CPA program, you can get a CPA membership actually by yourself, sort of without studying a master. Okay, but usually what our statistics have found, that if you're doing that by yourself, you would usually have a lower passing rate. Okay, so the advantage of doing a Master's of Professional Accounting is that you will be able to complete a master's degree, and at the same time, you'll be able to complete the requirements, sort of the courses requirements by CPA, and because you will have the support from the Lincoln staff and also from the CPA staff to prepare you to complete the complete the CPA courses. So the statistics that we have found is that students usually have a higher passing rate if you do the program with us, okay, and then you complete the CPA courses. So, but of course, it's not an easy program because it's after all, it's a CPA certified course, and you will have to sit the CPA exams. So it's not an easy program. It's not easy exams either. So that's why having the support from Lincoln lecturers and also the CPA staff will really help you to pass the exams.
So how can you compare it with the CA program or the ICAW program that is available in India for commerce graduates?
So CA, sort of CA, ACCA, CPA, they are actually sort of world-recognized accounting bodies. So basically, it's in a way they are sort of similar, okay, and they are all recognized worldwide as well. I guess the sort of difference is that when you're doing your exams or when you're doing your practical work experience, fulfilling your work experience requirements, they have some sort of difference there. So I think, for example, if you're doing a CA, when you're doing your work experience, you will need to have a compulsory mentor to sort of take you through your work experience, whereas a CPA, you will not require that. Okay, you will not be required to have a mentor to take you through. So and basically they are all recognized by the different accounting firms in New Zealand and also worldwide as well.
Yeah, okay, thank you. We do have some more questions, but I believe Annie ma'am has joined us.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think we'll let her have a session right now.
Yeah, sure.
And then take the questions later. Hello, yeah.
Hi, everybody. I have been listening to Patrick's presentation. Thank you, Patrick, for doing such a great job. And thank you, Professor Divya and EasyLink Academy for this wonderful opportunity. I feel for the students who have to zoom in because you have been listening non-stop for the last 2 hours. So I hope you will get to have a break soon. I just want to make one comment is that this year, today, it's the mark the anniversary for New Zealand going to lockdown in about this time last year. That was the first day we went into the total lockdown for about 6.5 weeks. So a year on, we have learned a lot from the COVID situations. And so I think one thing I learned about this is to be adaptable, never stop being curious and open to learn using different platforms, using different technologies, and be open for opportunities, open to challenges, and also at the same time, if you are feeling a bit stressed out about learning and all of that, it's okay to say that you are not coping. And by admitting that, learning to get help, that makes you a better learner and also makes you work better professionally when you get out, when you get into the workforce. So I believe my colleagues have already say all the comments, so I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going to say that what I really admire about the Indian universities is that you continue to innovate and learn new things and create opportunities for your students to connect with academics and people like myself outside India. So even though we can't visit you, you create a platform for us to meet you through this platform. So thank you for this opportunity. If there is any questions that we can answer for our students who have been listening patiently, please let us know. I do just want to add on to one the answers that Patrick was addressing. It's about one question about is what professions are in demand in New Zealand. I think you need to flip it around, think about what is your strengths, what are you good at doing, what is your weakness. So it is important when you are looking at further education or life after your Bachelor of Commerce. It's about learning to learn new skills, but also build on the interest. So if you really like people, but you also like analyzing data, then a career in marketing field is a good thing. But if you don't like people, but you actually like organizing, say, a process and systems, or understand the science behind stats and data, maybe a business analyst type of roles will be better for you. So don't think about getting a job or studying something because it's right there, it's a hot demand. So if you're not good at figures, but you know that, say, professional accounting is in the skill shortage list, don't study accounting. Study something that you are good at, that you're passionate about, so that you can make it work. Yeah. So that it is your passion. You can't if you're not good at, say, figures and you study accounting, what will happen? You are not going to be doing well and you hate that job. Our life, if there's one thing COVID taught us, is our life is too short to do something we hate. Yeah. So I'm just going to zip it and hand it over to the host because I speak far too much. And so, but I'm happy to answer questions as well.
Thank you, ma'am. It was such a pleasure hearing you and seeing you also.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. We do have some questions coming up from the students.
Sure.
Can you just give a cost comparison between New Zealand and Australia in terms of master programs?
If you are comparing the New Zealand, so what we have a saying is that you have to compare apple with apple. So if you are looking at the New Zealand similar kind of programs, take our Master of Professional Accounting as an example. So our tuition fees without the Toastmaster Merit Scholarship is about 43,900 for the whole 1.5 years.
Sorry to ma'am. We do have some audible issues.
Okay.
We are not able to hear you properly.
Can you hear me properly?
No, the connection seems to get lost in between.
Well, so I'm just going to say, is it okay?
No, ma'am. Still, it's not right.
Some
connection problem seems to be going on.
What about now? No? No? Let me see. If I stop Ken, is it better?
No. We are not hearing you properly.
Oh, I can hear you very well. Let me think. Let me see. Oopsie. Can't hear me? Is it better? Can you hear?
Now it's clear, ma'am. We can hear you.
Right. Okay. So I just want to say something. So the cost. Yeah. Hopefully it's better. So in New Zealand, I would suggest students to budget approximately 45 to 50,000 New Zealand dollars 1 year to cover your living expenses and tuition fees, approximately. So 1 New Zealand dollars is about 50 rupee as from today. For Australia, I think you are looking approximately, probably, I would say about 50,000 to 55,000 Australian dollars, depending on which part of the world, Australia you live. So if you compare, say, Sydney to Auckland, I think the cost of living, Auckland might be cheaper. Or if you compare Sydney, Melbourne to the city I come from, which is Christchurch, then the cost of living, for example, will be a lot cheaper. I think it's approximately 20% cheaper. So you do need to, but obviously less population. But I do want to say that international education, there is no, you must come to New Zealand, you must go to Australia, or you must go to Auckland, or you must go to the UK. I think you have to decide what is best for you. Do your research, and sometimes New Zealand is the best place for you because maybe we meet your budget, and also you might have friends that are here. There are subjects that we are very good at, like, for example, agriculture business, the agribusiness value chain. We are very, very good at it. Supply chain management, that kind of things. We are just, that's because of our industry strengths. If you are thinking about, say, there are certain subjects that we, so those are the things that I'm looking at, yeah. But if you have friends and family that live in Canada, for example, that you have a connection advantage there, that your parents want to go to Canada, and then you feel that the subjects that particular city that offer you is good, then I would say go to Canada. It is okay because whatever your experience you have, had an international experience will always be value. I think you will laugh at why am I saying this? That's because it is important. It is about you, but you are also with the right college who helps you to facilitate those connections for you so that you can make the right choice. There is no right or wrong, but I think if I'm going to say that, one last comment for me, if you look at my face, you think, where did Annie come from? So I came to New Zealand as an international student many years ago. I completed my Bachelor of Commerce in New Zealand. For me at that point in time, that was the best choice for me because I could afford to come to New Zealand. And that by far was the best investment I have spent in my life. And it gave me that opportunities in my life that I otherwise wouldn't have. So I do believe in New Zealand education, but I do understand that sometimes you may have family and that are in UK or other places. It is okay to travel, but plus make your experience global because COVID has grounded us, but COVID will go away. But COVID also create a platform for us to collaborate, interact through virtual platform. So it helps us to be open-minded, which is really good, and learn new things. So I know that you are in your final year of learning. So I hope that you hang in there and do well because you have done well from learning from home and doing through Zoom and other platforms. So well done. Thank you. I'm going to sit.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Annie Koch, International Manager, Lincoln University.
Yeah.
Now I
Thank
would
you.
like to invite Dr. Daislan Tuttle, Assistant Professor, Research Department of Commerce, St. Thomas College, Autonomous Thrissur, to sum up the session by expressing her comments on the technical session.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We had the sessions on international career opportunities across the world for commerce students, an introduction to international education in New Zealand, and international educational and career opportunities for commerce students in New Zealand. And international career enables to travel around the world, interact with high-level clients, and shape organizational outcomes. Getting placed in a reputed organization abroad is a big career opportunity that can transform a student's dream into reality. There are tons of overseas jobs. New Zealand offers transformational learning experiences for a smart, ethical future. New Zealand is ranked the top English-speaking country for preparing students for the future. Ensuring a good education for all is part of the key concept of giving everyone a fair go. New Zealand is comfortably in the world's top 20 nations for the quality of our schools, according to the OECD in 2016. Anyway, let me thank the resource person of this session, Mr. Sony Akaram, Mr. Patrick from Lincoln University, Dr. Hafsa Ahmad, Faculty and Postgraduate Committee Chairperson, Lincoln University, New Zealand, and the organizers of this webinar. The topic was really interesting and informative. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Daisland Tatil. Now it's the time to wind up the technical session of our third international conference on advances in financial markets and services, FinCon 2021. I welcome Ms. Urmila R. Menon, Research Scholar, Research Department of Commerce, St. Thomas College, Autonomous Thrissur, to deliver the word of thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce, St. Thomas College Autonomous Thrissur, I take this opportunity to thank the resource persons who made the session worthwhile. First and foremost, let me thank Mr. Soni Akara, Career Consultant and Executive Director, EasyLink Career Consultant, for giving us the proper guidance to build career abroad. Next, I thank Mr. Patrick, International Operations Manager, Lincoln University, New Zealand. And I also extend my sincere gratitude to Ms. Annie Ghosh, International Manager, Lincoln University, New Zealand, and to Dr. Hafza Ahmad, Faculty and Postgraduate Committee Chairperson, Lincoln University, New Zealand. And I also take this opportunity to thank Professor Divya George, Assistant Professor, Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce, who moderate the technical session, and Dr. Daisland Tatil for chairing the session. Without you participants, the session would not be lively enough. I thank each one of you for this. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.